Welcome back to Soul Light Reflections. Today is a very special day because I'm sitting down with Zingara, who is a phenomenal female producer, DJ, and just all around amazing human who spreads the word about how important it is to believe in yourself and to trust that you can manifest literally anything in this life. She creates music that, in my opinion, is like the pinnacle of conscious space. And people have heard me talk about this term many times, but I feel like this is the perfect person to bring on for the first time talking about conscious bass as a producer on this podcast. It really blends that like heavy bass with kind of like a mystical feel, a mystical energy. You feel like you're in a dream. And I am so excited to dive into this. I'm super humbled that she chose to do this in the middle of her tour with Level Up. I am just blown away. And I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. So here is Zingara.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
Yeah. So when I reached out to her, it was right after I saw a comment on one of my videos on TikTok because I was talking about conscious bass and this sound design, this different type of bass music that has been emerging over the last several years. And in there, I listed a whole bunch of artists that I feel go within that subgenre. And a bunch of people commented and were tagging Zingara. And then she comes in and she just comments, he. And I said, my girl.
I volunteer as tribute.
So I'm super excited to dive into like your evolution, the merge of spirituality with bass music that's been happening over the last several years. And also you talk so much about manifestation, and I've seen that you've started leading workshops at festivals about manifestation, and I really want to talk about what it means to create like the life of your dreams and really create every single moment with intention. But first, I want to kind of go back a little bit. Like, can you take us back to who were you before Zingara existed? Like, what was life like before?
Thank you. It was always crazy. So basically my like little rundown I give people is so my whole life I've been performing. I was a dancer and I loved it. And I think that now that I look back, one of the reasons why I loved it so much was because I could express myself through music without even having to like speak. And like especially because I grew up, I've always had a lot of anxiety, and I felt like I couldn't like speak out loud to people. Like when it was my turn in class, I could not. For like my classmates knew that if I was called to read, someone else would volunteer. I could not speak out loud, and so it just like I think that dance just like helped me almost like be able to be myself in front of people and like not have to speak, and that connection to music, and so. Yeah, I grew up dancing. I played the clarinet. I also love, I made YouTube videos and I was like very active online with like collab channels and editing and stuff. And so by the time it was time for me to go to college, I went to Towson in Maryland, and I grew up in Maryland. So I went to Towson University in like Baltimore, and I ended up injuring my leg, so I couldn't dance anymore. And I was an electronic media and film major. And I wanted to make like music videos. And I always wanted to do like some type of performing. I used to want to be like a backup dancer, music, like all of it. And I loved editing. And so after I hurt myself, I wasn't dancing, and I went out with my friends as a typical freshman would, but I was forced against my will, might I add. I was very scared to like do bad, like to do things, right? And so I went out and I met the owner of this local bar, and I just, I became friends with him, and I was telling him just about that whole journey, and he was like, "Have you ever tried to DJ?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Well, I think you should. Like everything I just told you, like love performing, love music." And so I I was like, "Okay." I had no idea what it was, and but I was like, "Sign me up." And so my first time I ever DJ'd, I literally used GarageBand like on my computer and like did a mix, like pre-planned it. Like I had no idea. Okay, so like, and then like after that, the world of EDM, and it's a long other story from there. But another thing I guess I missed out in my upbringing is I was also at the same time I loved music and doing all that kind of stuff. I was also super into the spirit world and ghost stories, talking to spirits, the whole nine yards. My siblings and I, like from literally when I can remember, have been communicating with spirit. Apparently, it runs in my family. And like, it connects to my project and everything like that. And so when I was 11, I had my aunt passed away. And so apparently when my dad's sister passed, I found out my dad had another sister. And I'll never forget the first time I looked at her. She just full gypsy outfit, just Italian gypsy, like really where our family background comes from. And she looked me in the eyes and she goes, she's like, I'm your aunt. She's like, I know that you see them too, and I'm going to teach you everything I know. And ever
Chills.
since that day, she would come once a year and she would visit us. She lives in Arizona now, but in Maryland, she'd come for a week and she would teach us everything from spirit, angel, demon, Reiki, crystals, astrology, like the spirit realm, you name it. Like she was like, I'm going to teach you as much as you know, because I feel like when you're a kid and you grow up, you're taught like at first until you're like 14 that magic's real. You're like
Mhm.
Santa's real, fairies are real, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, by the way, none of that was true. But right at that time is when my aunt came in. She was like, no, there is truth to this stuff, and I'm going to teach you. So I feel like just me and my siblings' brains, just the way I guess we developed was like that this is very real. And then, when I started to make music, it clicked that I could put my stories of spirit in my music as well. And I could blend all of these things I love into one thing. And so that's like the birth of Zingara.
Wow. That is so incredible. I love the way that you phrased that. You're so right. We are taught to believe in magic. And then all of a sudden, at some point, they're like, just kidding. That's all fake. Now you need to like go into
Yeah,
real life and basically be conditioned into not believing any magic whatsoever. And I
yeah,
think that's so powerful and amazing that your aunt stepped in, like you said, right at that time.
yeah. Blessing.
That is, that in itself is
Synchronicity.
magic. Yeah.
Yeah. I have like so in a lot of my music, I mean, it's really in all of my music, my story of the spirit, everyone that I've lost and stuff. And to chime in too, like when in 2017 when I first started like the Zingara project is when I lost three important people in my life and it really snapped me back into my spiritual journey. Like no time for this girl because before that I was in college, I was like out of it. I was starting to be like nothing's real again, like going back to that
Mhm.
mindset and it just was like bam. And I have readings that my aunt gave me from 2017 that I use in my music now because I didn't even know I had these recordings. And I found them like a couple years ago and it all came true. She was like, the reason why, your aunt died, I had to come in and teach you. And then you're going to be doing music in the future and like you're going to be putting this into the music. And I had no idea these recordings existed. So hearing them now after it all came true and her kind of explaining why I had to meet her and like what I was going to be doing I guess like for the collective or just whoever needs to hear it, she was like, that's why. And so just going back and, looking at that timeline, I'm like, holy shit. Pretty cool, but pretty scary.
That is wild. I only recently experienced like that depth of grief for the first time. My grandfather, who I was really close to, passed about a year ago. And I remember like he got diagnosed with really aggressive brain cancer in August and passed in January.
I'm
And
sorry for your loss.
thank you. And I actually got a message from Spirit about a month after his diagnosis that he was one of my guides, but not while he was on this earth. And I swear to you, from that point, I felt so much peace. I just was like, okay.
Dude. Yeah. Like I have a saying that I'd like to share with you too. It's like, isn't it so cool that a lot of our whole life people question who our guardian angels are and you know exactly whose yours is, you know?
Hmm.
So I like to
Yeah.
say that too. Like the people I've lost, like I know who my guardian angels are. That's pretty cool. Like a lot of people go their whole lives like questioning that, or like spiritual people, they want to meet them, or like, what's your name? And it's like, that's your grandpa, and he lived with you, and now he gets to guide you in this realm. And if anything, too, I like to tell people they're way closer to you.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
what I was going to say is that
illusion.
I completely think that like we as humans get so wrapped up in this like 3D reality
Yep.
and we're like, but they're gone. You don't understand. I'm like, No, actually, if you think about, okay, so my grandfather was not religious, spiritual at all. He grew up
Yeah.
in communist Russia. He basically escaped with his family like 50 years ago or something. And like he was very against all of it because of that. And my grandma, on the other hand, was has always been very spiritual. And so I've always had that deep connection with her. But on like a 3D level, I've had a great connection with him. And if you think about it, your relatives, your friends, your family, you only get limited time with them in any given year, for instance. But
Mhm.
when they pass, not saying like, oh, it's fine when they pass, but once you get past that deepest depths of the grief portal, you're able to open your eyes and the veil lifts to the fact that they are always with you and there is no separation
Yeah.
and how beautiful that is.
It's a new type of relationship that you will
Mm-hmm.
learn to develop with your loved ones. And it's very interesting too, because when you're developing that new relationship, it's not with our typical senses that we're taught, but there is more, to this world. And we only have a certain amount of senses. Like imagine how powerful our eyesight is. Now think of another sense that we would have, right? And we have a lot more than we've been taught. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you really dive into those, like unlocking those new pieces of your soul and those aspects, you do like start to realize that that relationship with your loved ones, it's a totally different new way, but it is still there and very much active and alive.
Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful. Do you feel like with all of the loved ones that you have lost, which I am so sorry for your loss, and how exciting at the same time that duality, right, of having
Yeah.
that different type of relationship, do
Yeah.
you feel like you channel them into every piece of music you make, or do you feel like you're pulling from other sources as well?
All the above. So in 2017, I lost my grandpa, Pop. I lost
Mm.
my friend Noy, who was the guy who told me to be a DJ that night, and my best friend Brandon, who now I live in Brandon, Florida. My manager's name is Brandon, both by synchronicity. Like it's
Oh,
insane. And
wow.
so when they passed, the type of like the type of relationship I've like developed with them since has been like it's a daily thing at this point. Like I swear. And the amount of I've learned like the new type of communication through them that I like didn't know before that I thought I did. Like every day I'm like there's something kind of like new that I'm like, oh, okay, like just paying attention to the synchronicities. But and so like every night, like before I play a show, like I'll pray to them and like I'll have like a list. But it's funny because the other day in my head, as I was going through like the little prayer I have, but I was like almost anxious about it because I was like, I have to run on stage. I forgot. I had like that little voice in my head. It was like, girl, like we're already here. You don't have to worry about it each time. Like we're already here.
Oh.
But I do love to channel. One of the things my aunt said too, like in that old reading, she was like, they're gonna be sending you music. You're gonna have to figure out who's sending what song. And so I feel like they're just like collectively in everything I do. But then there are certain songs like I've dedicated to certain individuals and also certain deities and entities and spirits. Like I recently did, and I've been doing one with Kali.
So powerful. Oh my God. When I first saw your first video talking about channeling this, I was like, what the fuck?
And you believe I didn't even know who that was before. So when I was making the song, I knew, but when I first found out who she was, it was because I saw her in my head, and I was like, I need to look this up.
Wow.
Same with like a lot of other, I guess, entities, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
angel, whatever. And so yeah, like sometimes stuff like that will happen where I'm like, oh, I guess that thing wants to come through and has a message for the people, especially like with the Kali song. It was about number one, he sang half of it in Spanish, and number two, when we translated the words, because at first, like I just had like a download, like in my head, I
Hmm.
saw her and I like heard the melody, like Father Kalima, and I heard the whole thing. When we translated it, we realized it meant speak Kalima and thank you Kalima, and she basically is known to like get rid of demons. Like she looks scary, so when people see her that like are closed off, they're like, "Oh, that's evil." And it's like,
Yeah.
"No, like she gets actually rid of that." And just with the whole everything going on in the world right now, just so much negative energy. I was like, no wonder she has to come through right now. And then also just singing in Spanish with just everything happening to just those communities right now,
Hmm.
just like like giving them their power back and just showing it like your truth and that you'll get through this and that we'll all get through this together. It just like hit way deeper than like obviously like I make a lot of songs for fun and like no meaning and just silly. But like when that kind of stuff happens, I'm like, this might not be like a hit, but like people need to hear this. And
Hmm.
it's like just the most raw like version of us. And the guy I even wrote that song with, now we're friends, but we just met each other at that point. And I was like, I heard you can sing, like, let's get weird. And now he's like, oh my God, that's what channeling is. Like, yeah, I'm like, we're not actually like seeing it, but like we just know somehow.
I feel like to me, that is the most inspiring part of your music and what sets you apart from so many other producers out there is the channeling aspect of it, just letting these songs come to you. When that happens, is it something that you're like, oh my God, I have to like do this right now? Or do you like, I don't know, record in your phone really fast if something comes to you? Or does it come to you when you're like intentionally setting the tone?
So it's both. I'll be like doing something random and I'll be like, up, download. Or a lot of the times too, it's 222 right now. Love that. A lot of the times, when I am writing, like when I'm in a flow state, that's when it like comes. I'll be writing like something else too, and I'll be in a flow state, and all of a sudden, like I'm really good at like I guess you call it like free writing. Like my notes app and my journals are just like full of nonsense of lyrics and messages and just like things that don't sound like me, if that makes sense. Like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I'm just like, really, it like comes the most when I'm like calm in a flow state and just like feeling calm. And a lot of the times, that's when I'm already writing something, because I'm just like so locked in that it's just so easy. Because basically, like when you're in a flow state, like your thinking brain like turns off. You're just like flowing, whatever that means for you, like whatever kind of art that is. And so when I am just like fully comfortable and like locked in and not even thinking when I'm writing, it just it's so weird because like there's a difference. I can tell
Yep.
when I'm like when it's like Gabrielle and when it's like there's just something else there. And I didn't realize how much like music I had in me before I started producing. And it's also a lot of producers, which I love too, and artists in general, they don't even realize they're channeling, which is the
Yes.
funniest, coolest thing ever. I'm like,
Mhm.
how'd you make that? You'll just like hear some songs, or at least for me, I'll like hear some songs. And there's just like this feeling. I don't know
Yeah.
how. There's not a word, but there's just like a knowing that like that energy that's present right now, that is like otherworldly. I don't know how to really describe it, but when I listen to some producers, I'm like, you were tapped in for sure.
100%. I feel like that is what I've been trying to like, I guess, articulate when I talk about conscious base, whether in person or online. I'm like, there are some DJs that some people might not agree with me of like they're in this kind of conscious base realm because they don't necessarily do it intentionally. It's just that
Yeah.
their energy and the energy that they pour into their music, it just happens.
Dude, that's like Closey. She's literally just a magical being with
Dude.
no intention there.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually nuts. Like, when I met her, I was like, I have so many questions. And she's just like, I'm just like doing me. And I'm like, you are such a
Yes.
channel. And, you know, the more she's with like me and Sammy too, the more we're like, aliens. And she's like, okay. So I'm like, girl, you're tapped and you don't even know it.
Oh my God, 100%. She was another person that on that like one video that went viral that I was talking about
Yeah.
conscious base, everyone was saying, and I was like, yeah, I know.
She,
And
it's like, she doesn't even know it.
yeah, and there are others too. So like for us, my husband and I, Peekaboo is another one. Like
Mm-hmm.
he puts so many fucking codes into his music, and it actually sent us on actually the year that we saw you 2 years ago at Shambhala when it was like you and then Closey and then LS Dream. They did their like LSZ, the craziest 3 hours of my life. But anyway, it was that weekend, and we ended up getting sent on this whole spiritual journey because of Peekaboo's set. Like
Sick.
it was insane. We actually recorded a whole podcast episode about it. And I'm pregnant now. I'm like almost 36 weeks pregnant. And we just this past weekend went to see Peekaboo here in Seattle because we were like, this is our last show before like baby comes. And once again, I was reminded of like, dude, this guy has no fucking clue. Like he channels so much into his music.
Yeah, he does. He does. And Subtronics, another good like
Yeah.
example
Oh
of
my
that. There's
God.
times I saw
Yes.
it with my sister too. We call it like the spirit tears. Like sometimes we just like
Yes.
cry without like feeling of crying. And I like look over at her and she like has it. I'm like, mm-hmm. But Peekaboo, yes, very tapped. Very, I love it. I love his stuff so much. I love playing his stuff too. There's just like there's just something there. And again, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what the word is, but there's just a feeling where it's just like you're in a different plane. Congrats on baby. I saw a
Thank
little
you.
baby sign today too, like a little, I don't know, I was like driving and I saw like this like little tiny little blue shoe, like little boy's shoe.
Oh,
And I was like, I wonder like who I'm gonna be talking to that's like having a kid. Because like I literally saw like I made note in my head. I was like, I just saw like a little spirit sign from a kid. So I guess maybe that's your little baby
Here
talking to
she
me.
is. Oh my God. I feel the most connected to spirit I ever have being pregnant. And it just like, I feel like is
Yeah,
now 10xing
total.
the closer we're getting. It's fucking insane. That's a
Oh my
whole other
gosh.
story, but
Yeah. I'm like, that is a whole other story. And I would love to even pick your brain about it because I'm always
yeah.
so fascinated, like the women portal and just
Oh,
babies and just like, yeah, like literally just got like a little, like just saw a little shoot today. I was like, oh, little baby. I wonder whose baby's like, give me a little sign.
little Eliana.
It was a blue shoe, but who knows? Like, we don't, we don't care about that in 2026.
You know what's so funny
Girl,
about
where's the
that
boy?
is that I'm having a girl, but I have gotten so many visitations since before I was pregnant of a little boy, like over and
Mhm.
over. And even up until like a couple days ago, I had a dream that I gave birth to a little boy. And so I'm like, genuinely, I think that,
Interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting that she's getting born into this time where there's so much more gender fluidity. And it's kind of like, yeah, you
Oh
do
my
you,
gosh,
you
I
let
can't
us
wait to
know.
see that. Let's see how she, yeah, let's see what she's up to when she comes out. Here's something I need to tell you too. I'm like, before we move on, um, I always tell people that are having babies, I'm like, what's the first song you're gonna play for them when they're in the realms?
Kusanagi, Odessa.
You got it planned. Let's go. I'm like, what's the first thing they're gonna hear when they're out of the room?
But
Like,
also, so we've been playing that to her like in the womb as kind of like a lullaby vibe.
yeah.
So we were like, okay, the second she comes out, we're playing that. But also, I have a friend who's a sound healer who's going to be there during my labor at the birthing center. And so she's going to
Oh,
be playing bowls and like chimes and all the things. And I'm so
yes.
excited.
I'm like, dang, that baby's got it nice. Good job. That's crazy. Congrats, though. Seriously.
Thank you. Yeah, and then my husband and I, we just started DJing together like literally a year
Wow.
ago. And we are going to be playing a festival. Our friend's like small festival here in Washington, but we're playing a festival when she was like 2 months old. And we're like, screw it. She's got her little earmuffs already. She'll be just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
strapped
yeah.
on. Like, this is her
Yeah.
life, like, and she already is obsessed with bass music because we go to a bass show.
Yeah.
Like, we went to see Liney like maybe 2 months ago or something, and we've been to like other shows since then, and she just sleeps the whole time. People like our friends will be like, oh, I want to feel her. I'm like, she ain't moving, she's sleeping.
She's yeah, she's used to this. This is her lullaby music. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've been putting together like a birth mix. So during that golden hour when it's just like, an hour of us just kind of all being together, we're gonna play that conscious bass mix that we're making.
Oh my goodness. I love you guys. Usually when I tell people I'm like, think of the song, they're like, wow, I haven't thought of that. So you're like, oh no, we have a mix, we have a set plan, we have the whole entire thing. Like we have the first song, the second. You guys are ready. That's insane. I love that.
We are so ready. Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
love it.
The fact that there are so many DJs and producers that channel this like different type of feeling into the music that they're putting out there. I think that it's not even just about the songs that they're producing. It's also when DJs are playing other producers' songs, it's something about the energy that they are putting into it when they're playing it out that might not even
Mhm.
be the intention of the producer themselves. But when it's
Yeah.
thrown into a set of someone that is just there with such a beaming energy, it hits so different.
Yeah.
And I also love that you're like, I don't know what it is, but it's something, because I've been saying that and I wish I could like articulate exactly what it is. But at the same time, sometimes there's no human words for it. And that's part of the
Yeah.
beauty in it.
Yeah. That's like the beauty of electronic music too. Like we don't need words for like the feeling. Like we could play an entire song and not have any words and you can still like it hits the heart so much even harder. That's because sometimes our words are spells, right? That's why it's called spelling.
Mm-hmm.
So like our words do keep us in this like 3D-ness. So when we're like making electronic music, I can go so deep into that too. Like when you make electronic music, you're literally like taking sounds from outer space and like bringing them onto Earth. Like when they measure gravity in outer space, it looks like a sound wave, right? And so we are literally taking space sounds and like bringing them into like reality. And especially in this day and age, like with the amount of like the fact that I can even do that electronically on a computer, like when in the past it was all just like instruments, it's just such a different world and it's infinite possibilities of this world and like so much channeling and like I'm so grateful to live in this time period where I can just go on my laptop and make a song with anything. Because again, like when I first started, I had no idea. No idea you could do that. And so it's just like mind blowing every day too when I'm making something new or like I'm like in that like feeling zone, like what we've been talking about. I'm like, I don't get it, but I love it. And I'm gonna keep doing it and we'll see what comes out of me next. Like I always think that too. I'm like, how many songs, like, wonder what all the songs are gonna be by the time it's like my turn, go back into the realms. Like how many songs and what's gonna come out of me and all that shit. I didn't even know I could make one.
Tell me, did you make your first song on GarageBand too, or was it
Oh
just when?
no. Yeah, definitely not. No.
Okay.
My first song, yeah. The first song I like officially, I guess, like put out, like besides like on Spotify, it was like Chemical Dreams, and that was on I used Ableton. But
Oh, okay.
technically I was in school for that and I was supposed to be using something called Pro Tools. And it got to a point where I went to my professor and I was like, girl, I'm just gonna be honest. I've been using Ableton this whole time. I'm gonna be using Ableton. So am I allowed to like use it? And she was like, do it. And she like had me come in and teach a class in Serum, which is like basically one of the VSTs we use to make our wubs. So I got to come in and teach a Serum class, and then I put it out. And the day before I put that song out too, I almost took it down because I was embarrassed because I was like self-releasing it, and like at that point, everyone in the industry was like, you have to release on a label. And like right before, something in me was like, just don't take it down. Like, who cares? And then it went viral. And so ever since then, I've been like promoting, I'm like, self-release your stuff. Like, you can do it. So,
That's so amazing that you can lead by example in that way. I think that so many people get that big fire of, okay, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll just release it. And then, similar to what almost happened to you, they get so in their head. And it's like, no, the world needs that magic. It
yes.
needs that art. And no matter how it's coming out. And I think that we all from time to time get so stuck in that,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure as a producer,
100%.
there's many times when you're like, oh, but this can be tweaked and that can be tweaked. But at a certain
Infinite.
point, you have to let it fly.
You literally do, because you could, one of my songs in like my set now, I've split it up into 10 songs. I made it in one song. Like I just kept going. Like you can just keep going forever until at one point you literally have to tell yourself to stop. And I always tell people too, like we're not seeking perfection. Like we're seeking, and it's something I have to tell myself every day. I'm not seeking perfection. I just need to be me and like put my work out. And yeah, it's not going to be perfect to everyone's eyes, but I also like being able to hear my own progress. Like a lot of people, they get in their head so much that they're like, or some people that are in it not for the right reasons, right? They'll have a ghost producer, which is when someone else makes your music. And it's like, I don't understand. Like, I just will never get that because I genuinely, at least for me, when I go back and listen to my music, I like hearing like my progress of what I've learned and how I've done better and over time. And even every other artist I look up to over time, like just seeing how their like progress and how they just keep enhancing every single time they like release something. It's like part of the beauty of it. And like getting to watch like your favorite artist develop and grow up. And so, yeah, like I'll never take that for granted. And I'm so happy I like got out of my head that day. And a couple of the other days, I almost took my music down. I like was like, okay, I have to stop. And it changed people's lives. Even if it, just getting one message, hearing that I've helped someone is exactly why I do it. Because again, like I before like I started putting like my spiritual, I guess, lessons and grief into my music, I like felt alone in that. I didn't know people could have so many stories that related, and I didn't know people were even interested in learning if they didn't have anything that related. And so it changed my entire world where I was like, "Oh, I can do all of this and combine it and help people and help like my inner child, myself."
Oh my gosh, so powerful to hear you like explain that progression of having a little bit of that doubt, putting it out anyway, and then realizing just how much you can infuse your own lessons, your own
Yeah.
journey, your own spirituality into that. And then to be met on the other side with people who fucking get it and they come to you and they share that with you is amazing. And
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that feeling. And I agree. It's really cool to see that progression. Like I've been on social media and doing podcasts for oh my gosh, almost like 9 years now.
Wow.
And, I had a previous podcast with a co host of mine all about our autoimmune journeys. And now to
Mm.
be sitting where I am having this podcast that once in a while I'll kind of talk about it, but for the most part, it's like, no, this is where I'm
Oh,
at now
yeah.
is insane. And listening to some of those episodes, yeah, for sure it's cringy. It's like, oh God, my voice,
Oh,
or like
yeah. I
just
have a
all the
rule
things.
too. Like, if I'm gonna post something with like my face too, I'm like, don't look at it back. Don't look at it again. Because especially if I'm smoking or something, I'm like, definitely don't. That self-judgment. Like sometimes I'm like humans think too much. We think too much. Like
Hmm.
the fact that like girls these days they'll get like upset over like our nails. It's like we think way too much. Like we gotta chill. We gotta just vibe it out, listen to music. And music is also like it's called the universe. It's like the most healing thing we have. It's like the most powerful
Hmm.
healing tool. And people get upset when you say that too, because it's like, well, what? And it's like, again, you have to go back to the beginning of our mind and our thoughts and what really is that and then everything
Exactly.
else. And especially how that connects to your immune system too. Like it's all
Hmm.
connected so much deeper than we all think and so much healing's possible. We're just like ingrained that it's not. And I guess that was on purpose now, like with everything out in today's world, because they don't want us to know these things.
Yep.
Um, but we're really powerful. Like it down to the thought and the second you decide something, you have all the power right there. And then people
Hmm.
like have like the fear background too of like, well, when I tell people I'm like, you have God in you, they're like fear. They're like, no, like God is this, and it's just so twisted. So
Oh my God. A
down the
hundred
rabbit hole.
percent. I think another aspect of like this kind of goes along with seeing that godliness which within each one of us is that when you look back at if you're someone that maybe puts out a lot on social media or in other formats, or maybe you just like look at old pictures of yourself, what I try to do is instead of looking at it and being or hearing it and saying, oh God, like that's so cringe, what can you find about it that you're really grateful for? What can you find about it that is
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I've grown? And then you
Yeah.
can look at it from compassion and love and gratitude
Everything.
rather than being like annoyed or grossed out or
Yeah.
whatever.
Looking at every single thing in
Hmm.
this life from like that perspective and lens on of like, okay, I'm gonna look for the good in that instead of focusing on the bad, which we're just again like taught as humans to do.
Hmm.
So healing, like I was even like the other day driving in a car and I've been going through a breakup and I was just thinking of like all the things of like, damn, this sucks. And then it like hits me. I was like, let's right now shift this to everything I'm grateful for. And it just changed everything. And, just staying in that mindset. And it's okay to like be in the opposite. We're humans. Like we're
Yeah.
coming to learn and feel all of the opposite, right? But like, it's really like rewarding when I can be in those moments where in the past I would have been like judging myself or judging someone else or the situation. And now I can look at it from that opposite point, whether it's looking back at my photos or looking back at situations and just everything of like, okay, I'm gonna like choose. It's an active choice to look at it through this lens of like, what am I thankful for at all times? And like
Yeah.
that comes back. It comes back and it has to. So it's really cool.
It absolutely does. I'm sorry you're going through that breakup. And something that I always try to remember, I mean, I like am so obsessed with my husband. We have the best relationship, and I am constantly telling myself, you know what? It could end tomorrow. Who knows? Like, you never
You
know.
never know.
Literally, he could wake up tomorrow and be like, I actually don't want to be with you. I actually don't want to be the father to this child. Like, who knows? And at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm like, you know what? Everything that led up to this, I'm so grateful for. And if
Yeah.
God forbid that were to happen, I will be okay. I will
Yeah,
move
thank
on.
God. Like, yeah, I totally agree. And thank God, my ex now, he like we have the same mindset as that. We're both still like we're both okay. Both needed it's like one of those needed to happen. But it did come out of like, kind of nowhere of like that decision. But the card that I pulled one card right after and I was like, I'm set. I don't need to hear anything else. Usually I'm like, come on guys, give me something I need, that I got just like the Reaper card of like, and it was saying it's just in there like sometimes like stuff will be pulled completely unexpected and it'll feel like you don't have time to like process it. It was literally 3 hours before I left for tour. And so I was like, universe, I know you want me to slay, but like with the breakups, let's not have this pattern that I'm even trying to break of own cycle, because 2 years ago when I went on a headline tour, same exact thing right before. And I was like, guys, I know you want me to like feel this music, but I know you want me to make bangers.
Wait,
So
that's
let's like,
wild.
yeah, I know. It's like my own cycle, and then the boy, it's all of us. That's why too, like, I don't know, it's something I like work on too of like, okay, like standing up for myself and then also like again being grateful and like and seeing the humanness in everyone no matter what like happens in my relationships with people. Like you could do me dirty. I'm like, I still like I can still see myself in you and I can see like the human in you, no matter what. And that's something I need to work on and something I am grateful for at the same time. But like when I'm going through these things and like and then breaking these cycles and patterns, not only like with my partner, whoever it is, like again, even though it might lead us to like needing separation or just time, like it's still we're both growing and learning and always moving up. And like, it's something that I've like processed and that, like I guess my own like family cycle and shit that I've been needing to work on. But I'm like still I'm very grateful for it and very grateful for like what's to come too and to like watch him grow and to watch myself grow into like who we need to be. And so, like, if anything, yeah, I'm very grateful that it's like that type of situation because I've been in
Hmm.
the exact opposite too, I'm like, you're lucky I have responsibilities, you know? But yeah, so we're all good over here. We're making some good music still, and we're healing at all times. And sometimes it needs to happen. And I also tell myself too, if I want to be the teacher, I got to be the student first. So if I'm going to go out
Hmm.
and have an audience and talk about like these personal things, like I have to go through it and live it and like, and teach myself and like grow each time. And like, how do I want to act in certain situations? How do I want to be? How do I want to feel? And really just like taking my power back in those situations instead of letting my brain do its job, which it's supposed to be doing. It's like this sucks and this sucks, but I'm like, okay, zip it. Okay. So,
You can sit in the back seat. I'm gonna drive. Thank you.
yes, exactly. Exactly. Like my consciousness just watching like my inner thoughts like what the who's that bitch in there? Like she's crazy.
I completely agree with you that we really have to make sure that we're staying in that student mentality, especially like even more so when you have like a big following or a big platform or, a lot of people that are learning from you. I think that people in every single industry out there are a lot of people that get caught in this like, oh, well, now I'm teaching about this thing, so I don't have to keep learning. And that's when I think that things get
Hmm.
really fucking toxic and
Hmm.
bad and cult like.
Hmm.
And so I think that it's like really hard sometimes to make sure that you are staying the student constantly. And
Yeah.
even I feel like I recently got caught in that a little bit where I was like, okay, I'm, talking about all these things, I'm teaching about all these things, I'm hosting workshops, retreats, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, caught myself going, wait a second, I have not been learning lately. What the fuck am I doing? Like, this is not okay. I need to take a step back and put myself in the student seat again. And I think that it's just kind of natural, again, that
Yeah.
humanness kind of comes through and we get so kind of pigeonholed into what we're doing and what we want to share because we're so excited about it. But I'm
Hmm.
curious for you, how are you able to make sure that you do stay in kind of that student role? Like, what
Ooh,
are some of those practices that are
good
important to
question.
you to be able to do that?
Good question. That's such a good topic too, because especially like in music producer mode, like a lot of the times like producers are so it's just like you got to be good or whatever. And I just feel like I always tell people, like, again, you're always going to be learning. Like, I don't even want to hear from anyone's freaking mouth that you've learned it all. Like, there's never a
Mm-hmm.
time you're going to know everything on Ableton. There's never a time. Like, you can learn something new every day. And personally, for me, every time I go in Ableton, I try to learn something new, whether it's even just messing around with stuff I don't know and messing with it until I like end up liking it. So I do that in Ableton, like when I'm literally making music, but then just as a person, every morning I try to read a book, at least one chapter of a book. And I love to read type of books where I can learn, usually right now, I mean, like everything of like spiritual growth, consciousness, mindfulness. I love it. Like it is such a intense part of my routine too, because even though I feel like some of the books too, it's like I've heard this before, but hearing it back from another perspective is so important to me, and I love it. Like I love being like just the little like fun fact person of like, did you know that dream catchers, like, and so I love it. And something that like stresses me out though, I will say, is like I want to learn everything ever. And I'm like, there's no time. So I need to pick my poison. And I think it's so important to go in and like and have that mindset of like, okay, like I know what I know, and it's totally okay for me to like teach what I know and my experiences, but keeping in mind too, it's like I'm still learning, I'm still a human, I don't know everything, I'm not perfect, and if someone was to expect me to know the answer to everything, like I'm so sorry because I really don't. Like so I just it's such an important mindset to stay like in that student perspective and to take baby steps to where you want to be, but it is baby steps, right? Because you can't just like be like, okay, I'm gonna learn every single language by tomorrow. Like I've been studying a language for like 2 years and I still am like very, you know, minimal. So it just takes time, and it takes like trust to that in time when you want to learn something, you can learn it, and that anything's possible, whether that's like learning how to make music or learning how to, make your own career path for yourself, or if that's learning just about like spirituality and like the world. Like learning about the topic of like spirituality in the universe is a never ending topic with tons of unanswered questions. And that's why I think it's even more fascinating to me to like hear everybody's perspective and different ideas on it. Cause there's so many, like everyone's like, what happens when you die? And I have my answer. Someone else has their answer and they're totally set on it. And it could be the exact opposite of what I think, but they are 100% sure and I'm 100% sure. So it really is it. Who knows? I'm like, I think I know. But, you know, so yeah, it's just staying in that student, definitely like trying to read every day. And plus when I started to bring the habit of like reading every single day, it has brought so much more joy to my life too, especially with like my creative and my job process. Like I'll read something and it just genuinely sets my brain like for the rest of the day. Like I'm ready to take on the day, and I'm ready to like take my this knowledge and put it into my day. And just like again, like where I get to sit now, like where for my job I get to have fun and talk to you is because like of the past of me trying to learn and take in as much as I can, and getting to talk to people like you and learn from each other is like my favorite thing. So, yeah.
I agree. It's the best thing ever. Best job ever. I love being able to not just talk to people who have like the exact same mentality, which also is obviously fucking awesome, but learning from each other and really being open to different points of view, like you were saying, because at the end of the day, I had this conversation with a friend like a week ago. There is no such thing as like inherently right if you really, really think about it. In
Yep.
this reality, you could think of anything. The sky is blue. Well,
Yep.
it depends on how, like what you're talking about, how you're looking at it, from what
Yeah.
scope. Like there's no one inherent right answer to literally anything.
Yeah. It gets trippy and dark and beautiful all at the same time. Yeah. It's all made up.
Exactly. So I think that like finding, that sense of curiosity and compassion for all things is really the key, and
Yep.
constantly wanting to evolve and grow in whatever way that means for you. For some people, it might mean going really deep into, I don't know, learning about mathematics. And for another person, it might be astrology. And for another person, it might be producing.
Yeah.
And how cool is it that we can all then come together, and even though we have kind of like found different niches, we all can still learn from each other in
Yep.
some sort of common
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. 100%. I love it.
I would love to hear a little bit more about like your spiritual journey, especially recently. If there are any other practices that you feel, I know that you shared before you go play a set, you have kind of like your ritual that you go through, and obviously reading books every morning is really important to you. But are there any other type of daily practices that you feel like, no, I would not be able to live without this?
I was nicotine. No, I'm just kidding. I would. Water? No. So basically, um, I think that what I've learned, especially like in this job, you don't realize how hard, at least I didn't realize how hard it was, this job before I started doing it. Like going outside in like a summer heat, playing a festival in the sun and trying not to pass out. So basically what I'm trying to get at is the importance of taking care of yourself is so, so, so important. Like going to the gym, trying to eat healthy, trying to get on sleep schedule. Like I have even tried to like train myself because I go to the West Coast a lot. And so when I'm playing in the West Coast, maybe it's midnight on the West Coast, but it's 3 a.m. over here. I would be in bed. So I have to train myself to stay awake longer. So, getting that sleep schedule in, staying healthy, like as much as you can, drinking your water, that is like I wouldn't be able to like lock in if I like didn't have the mental, going on. And but then like for like music ritual, I love just being in my studio here, lighting my candles. Right now I'm like I have a Bastet, Anubis, and Hecate candle. And like I invite my girls, my spirits, and I just like I feel like getting like in a comfortable like I'm so grateful that I even have a place that I can comfortably and be alone and make music for as long as I want. Because also like before I even moved here, I was in my mom's house in the basement with all these people and things and couldn't be loud and so I'm very grateful I finally have my own space. But just like finding it's just so important to like take your mental health very seriously, especially if you're going to shows and especially because it's normalized at these shows to like participate in party favors. Maybe one person it's normal for them, but the other person they're not going to come back. So like get your mental health on lock as much as you possibly can and study it and take care of it because that's what makes you you and then do the rest. And that's like what makes me able to like do what I do because like in the past I was just like saying yes to every single show. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't taking care of myself. I even had my knees and my legs were like super injured the past couple years. I never even got help because I was like I don't have time. So I was just like I was just embracing the pain. And so I finally like got help this past year and it's changed everything for me. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can like actually full on play a show to like my full capacity now, where the past couple years I had to be very careful. And so yeah, like please just everyone take care of their bodies and put that first because even though I'm grateful for where I am right now, I do wish like if I could go back to like just put that first because it did like throw me off for a little. I didn't tour all of last year, like headline tour because I was like, I just need like to get my mental in check before. And, maybe it'd be different if I did do that. I am very grateful for where I am right now. But who knows, like, if I had that same advice to myself a couple years ago, if I listened, like, where I'd, be sitting. So yeah, taking the mental is like the main ritual of like every single day when before I even read, I'm drinking water and I'm like saying my affirmations in my water. And like every single day, it's like say your affirmations and trying to be mindful and like I try to do my day in like segments. So it's like segment one, wake up, like drink the water, feed the cats, read the book, like clean. But before I go in each segment, I'm like, all right, I'm preparing myself for
Mm.
this next one so I can go into it like fully like conscious, if that makes sense, of like what I'm doing.
That
It's
makes a
changed so
lot of
much.
sense. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that idea of going in with segments. Like, okay, I have these things in this, hour or whatever, and then moving on to the
Yep.
next part. I think that that can be really helpful to kind of like compartmentalize each part of your day. And it's a way of almost having like separate to-do lists, and you can
Yeah.
feel really accomplished. Like, okay, that segment is done.
Yeah. And like making to-do lists, like moving your like for before I would put like everything I always have to do on one day and then I'd be stressed. But then it's like, okay, break it up. Put it in a future, like put it in a month from now. Like schedule your shit out, girl. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to do every single thing in one day. It's not possible. So like, yeah, just the more I've like gotten in check and like that segment thing, it's changed so much because like just being mindful, like again, I love to use the example of like when I'm brushing my hair, I'm like literally I'm locked into that moment. I'm not thinking of anything else besides like my hair is growing, it's long, it's
I
I'm
feel
doing
like
that
you
for like
recently talked
everything
about this
else.
on a TikTok video.
Yeah,
I
it's like
remember
my
you
favorite
saying.
example to give because like every time I'm online, I see girls like, and I'm like, no, it's step one. Then people ask me too, they're like, how do you like stay like that? I'm like, I don't. Like, I'm still human. It's like a constant reminder. It is literally a constant reminder. And maybe that's sounds frustrating to some people, but for me, it's more rewarding because when I do like have the reminder of, okay, I'm here right now and everything's okay, then I'm like, oh, like I caught myself like being conscious. And then it gets more exciting every time you're like catching yourself like that again. And so, even though it is like, I guess, frustrating to have to remind yourself each time, when you do catch yourself reminding yourself, you're like, "Ooh, I did it!" So it's like better.
That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really love that your answer to the question of like daily habits and spiritual practices routines really was grounded in this physical body, because I think that so many times, similar to when teachers forget to be the student still, we get so excited when we're on a spiritual journey and we want to lock the fuck in, and we forget that we have one foot in the spirit realm and one foot in the physical realm,
Yep.
and that if you get too far with one foot, you're going to be doing the splits, you're not going to be able to recover. And so I love that
Yes.
that was your answer of taking care
Thanks.
of this physical vessel, because while we are spiritual beings in a physical vessel, the physical vessel needs to be taken care of first and foremost,
Yeah.
and then the spiritual
Yeah.
side can really
Yeah.
thrive.
And that's why we're here. We're here to experience the physical. We're here to forget and to remember again. And then once we remember, then we can go on the rest of our life enjoying it in like that way, right? And it's so important to like stay grounded when like especially when you're learning the spiritual shit because there's so many unknowns out there and you go too far down that doorway, you're thrown into outer darkness. Like it can get very trippy, very quick. And so it's very important to have you to like know yourself before you're fully diving into that spiritual realm. And yeah, like I can also say too, try to meditate every day. I mean, at least two, like something, because when you say meditate, sometimes it's like there's the people that meditate for 4 hours and they're in the
Mm-hmm.
realms and or there's like just I'm trying to be like kind of just mindful. I'm just sitting there with myself for 15 minutes and just focusing on whatever's there, whatever comes up. And I don't know if you know this, that can take away when you meditate for 30 minutes a day, that can take out like one sleep cycle. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really good for me because I don't usually get 8 hours of sleep a night. So if I can get a chunk of 30 minutes in of just mindfulness, then that does reset your brain
Mm-hmm.
just the same way as if you were going to go to sleep.
Yep.
So I try to take like advantage of those type of things that I know about too. And it is fun. Like, I don't do this daily, but like, when I'm trying to do the trippy shit, go into the realms, um, the spirit things. I do that. I do participate, but I also like I have my way of like protection, I guess you could say. And
Mm-hmm.
some mediums will tell you like you don't need it. Some will. I was just raised by, my aunt that was the Catholic medium. So she always told me even before she would do a tarot reading, she would call in God, Mother Mary, Jesus, the four archangels, and then she would
Mm-hmm.
continue. And so I'm like very big on like making your spiritual space and staying grounded, having that discernment of because when you learn about spirituality, you learn that, you know, and it's 100% proven this is a thing that when you channel, it comes through your own voice in your mind. And this is so trippy for so many reasons because people don't know they're channeling. Number one, people can get so caught up in their own thoughts that isn't even from them that it convinces them to take their life to that extent. And and then when you start to channel more and you have that discernment of, okay, is that something I just thought of? Like, did that come from me? Did it not? Then you really, it's very important to have that discernment and to learn
Mm-hmm.
your own intuition versus something else when you start to be more mindful of the channeling and when you're just aware of that, like just me telling you now or whoever is listening, now that you're aware of the channel that's there and open, you get to learn to close it off. And it's
Yep.
up to you and it's literally as powerful as you just saying, I'm off the radio right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so my aunt always told me too, it's a radio station. You tune into a certain one based on how you feel, not what you think, because then people get in their head, they're like, I have bad thoughts. Like, what is going to happen to me? It's like, no, it's how you feel. So our brain's always going to have these thoughts. It's just part of us, right? These bad ones or whatever is bad. But how can we learn from it again? How can we transmute that? And how can we, again, learn the difference of when we really are channeling? Because I've seen too many people go down the route of that's not recoverable from opening
Mm-hmm.
up they weren't necessarily attuned to themselves and then they opened up that channel to infinite possibilities and it got them. And so yeah, like I love like whenever I talk about spiritual journey, I'm like I love talking about it too, but it's very important to know like I guess like the facts of it of yeah, this is a real thing and it does come through your own intuition and voice in your mind. And so you have to learn the difference of what's you and what's not you. And that sounds so trippy and loopy when I say that out loud too, because people are like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like, Science.
One day you'll understand, you'll
Yeah. For
remember.
me, like I'll actually tell this story real quick too. So the day that I found that out, that like it comes through your own voice in your mind. Because when I was little, my sister was like, I would just like, for me with spirits, I would just like know things, but I wouldn't like necessarily hear. And I thought it had to be like hearing out loud. And so I was always jealous of my sister because my sister would like get these messages and I'm thinking she's hearing out loud, but she's not this whole time. And so after my grandpa passed away, I was talking to my uncle so my aunt that's like the spiritual lady, she's on my dad's side. But then my mom's brother, he also has like a spiritual center in Maryland and he also learned through my aunt on the other side. So I was talking to him and I was like, why can my sister hear ghosts, but I can't? And he was like, Gabrielle, it's your own voice in your mind, like blah, blah, everything I just said. And so later that day, I was like, oh, never thought of that before, right? Duh. I was at my grandpa's house after his funeral, and everyone was at his house, and I'm standing alone in the living room, and I'm like just looking at pictures, and all of a sudden, again, my own voice, like in my mind, it was like water the plants, and I was like, what? Like what the fuck was that? Like I was tripped out. It was so clear that it was not me. Again, it was again, water the plants. You need to water the plants. I was ignoring it because I was like, I'm going insane. Like I was like, I'm schizo. I'm done. So, and that's like a whole nother conversation of that. But anyways, so I went back and I sat at my dining room table like with my family, and all of a sudden, my grandpa's friend comes running in the room and he's like, guys, this lemon just fell from the tree. I think this is a sign that we need to water the plants. And then my grandpa's girlfriend was like, oh my God, he'd be so pissed. We haven't watered the plants all week long. And it became this huge thing that everyone got up and he had like a jungle of plants. And everyone starts watering the plants. And I was like, oh my God, I swear to God, I just heard, I pulled my cousin aside. I was like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I swear I just heard him tell me to water the plants. And ever since that day, it's still hard for me, the discernment, but I was like, that's what it is. Like somehow when I was just chilling, not even, wasn't trying to force the situation. I just let it be. I took the information in and then boom, it was just like, you need to do this, girl. And I was like, sorry, didn't listen to
That's
you, but now I
such a good
know.
example of the discernment between your intuition and like a download coming through, because a lot of times a download is something like you said, you're not thinking about it, you're not doing anything related to it, and it's just like boom, and it's just this knowing. And a lot of times it can be like your intuition is already pretty quiet compared to your ego. But a lot of times when the download comes through, it can sometimes be even quieter from my experience than the intuition. And you can doubt it easily. Like you were like, what are the plants? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so easy to like for me to psych myself out. Like really even to this day too. Like yeah. I mean, it's all the time, but then it's like proven right after and I was like, okay, like maybe I wasn't going crazy. But every single time, like don't get me wrong, like every time this happens to me, which is almost every day, I'm still trying to convince myself like this can't be like still trying to find an explanation and there just hasn't been one. And it's to the point where like at first I was like just telling my friends about these stories, but now not only would they experience them like with me around, but now they experience it on their own. And so just like getting to like teach that and see my friends and family like just tap into that more too and like all of us have the experiences together to where it's like okay like I wasn't the only one that like noticed that. It's so much fun. The other day my one of my childhood friends Mathuri was visiting me and she was friends with my friend Brandon before he passed and I was telling her like there's all the updates with him and I was like he shows us the rainbow cloud and like if you just speak to him like he'll do it right. So we wanted to go to a park and she really wanted to see an alligator in Florida, which I've only seen one. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna like show her one. And then we were talking out loud to Brandon. We were like, hey, can you show us a rainbow and can you show us an alligator? And so on our drive, there's a rainbow. I was like, obviously, there's a rainbow. We're like, hey, what's up? And we went to 3 different parks, like, and they're all closed. And the sun was going down. I was like, we're screwed. We're not gonna see the alligator. But I was like, we told Brandon, like, what are we gonna do? So we're walking down this like random park and it's like there's no wildlife like at this point. And I was like, let's just keep going. Like, let's just go up to this like end little thing we could see and then we'll turn around. When we get up to this like end post, there's this tiny little like magical area of water and like this like just like archway of like creatures. And in that little pond was a big alligator. And we sat with the alligator for like 45 minutes and we were like, let's go, Brandon! Like, let's go. So it was really awesome. But just stuff like that, like asking it is given and just like trusting that and like that, not that I heard like that a voice at that point or download, but I knew that like just as putting that out there, like that it is possible to get back even that quick too, like the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
Yeah.
really cool to show my friend that too, because I was like, that's how it works. Like, yeah, exactly.
I love that. Yeah, when it comes to like the discernment between downloads and intuition and just like watching things manifest in your 3D reality, I think that some people can get so caught up on the outcome of what it's going to look like. And I think a lot of times we also get caught up on, like you mentioned before, the ego of like, oh, I don't know, is that really it? But at the same time, how fucking beautiful is that? Because that just means you're human. Like we are
Yeah.
humans experiencing this. So of course we're going to question it.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who have been mediums for 20 plus years and they still question sometimes like I don't
Yeah.
know, should I be saying this to this
I
person? I don't
know.
know how if this
Yeah.
is going to hit like
Yeah. I always, yeah, every time. And then like out with the medium stuff too, like for me too, I'm just still like in the doubt. So I just like keep my mouth shut. But then like right afterwards, like the message I got will happen. I'm like, guys, I swear. I just heard that. But I know you don't want to believe me, but I swear every time. I'm like, dang it.
I think that it really another thing that you touched on before is basically that spiritual hygiene, right? Of being very conscious of the energies that you're letting in and the energy that you're putting out. Because spiritual psychosis is a very real thing and it can happen
Yes.
very quickly because, like I said, we get so excited about, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world. I get it now. Like, wow, because the veil lifts at some point. And a lot of times for a lot of people, it looks like a really big, like, boom, like you're in it. And I
Yes.
think that it's too easy to get so caught up in that because it's
Yes.
exciting. And so that spiritual hygiene is fucking key. And for me, I actually recorded another episode all about the very first time that I channeled, which was literally the day that I met my husband.
Of
um,
course.
oh my God, craziest thing at the gorge, just like
I'll have to
magic.
listen.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's good. And I literally read through everything that I had channeled that day on this episode. And it's like you said, some of it doesn't make sense. It's just a note in my phone. And to this day, I have a million soul download notes in my phone.
Love me
And
too.
sometimes they don't make sense and sometimes they do. And like you said a bit ago on this episode, how sometimes you write things down, you're like, that was not me. I don't even really know what this means, but I know that it was powerful in that moment. I started getting that from the first time that I channeled. I'm like, I have no idea, but I know that was not me because I have no idea what I just wrote. I could
Yeah.
not tell you one word that was written just now.
Yeah.
And then going back and reading it like a couple days later, going, holy shit, like
Every
what?
time. Dude, yeah. Every time. I'm like, I love that sometimes like even like I have a EP called For the Crystal Children and it talks about basically everything that's happening in the world today. Like, hey, we came here as souls and we're like literally here to experience this shift. Like that's why we're here right now. And like when I was writing it, like I knew there's shift going on, I knew it was gonna be happening, but the way it like came out afterwards, I was like even listening to it, like I re-listened to it the other day because someone tagged me. And I was like, I can't believe like that wasn't me. Like it was, but it wasn't. And I'm happy that like I can talk to someone that can relate in that way because I hope that everyone can have an experience like that because it is so magical and there's no proper word to describe it besides
Mm-hmm.
like it's magic and it is just a feeling again, we don't know what, but it's just that knowing and it's the coolest thing ever because everyone can do it. And
Yeah.
that's what's crazy too, because like sometimes there's like the thing where it's like, okay, people are gifted. Well, people are gifted with everything, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
singers that are naturally talented, and then you can learn how to sing. You can learn how to ride a bike. You can learn how to channel. And it's just like anything else. You can learn how to freaking electrokinesis out of your fingers. You can learn telekinesis. The other day, my friends were sitting here and we're moving crystals and papers with our minds. And I was
Yes.
like, I'm going to prove to you guys. And it was two boys that didn't believe me. And I was like, watch. And now they believe me.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God, I love that. I could geek out about that.
some like
Yeah.
I do it with my hands. Sometimes it's people's eyes,
Mhm.
but for me, my hands, like I just again, all of a sudden I'm like tapped into it, like the object, and I can just move it. Like there's some invisible string, and it's nuts. I'm like, everyone needs to try
A
because
hundred
like just take like
percent.
30 minutes out of your day, lock in, and like freaking try to move that crystal. Like, and it's too easy, and that's why you have to tell yourself too, because we think these things are impossible. Well, if you think it's impossible, then it is. If you think it's too easy and it's possible, then it will. That's how our Matrix 4D world works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's what people, I guess, don't necessarily understand that we are in this like besides the spiritual part of it, like the science part of it, we are literally in a matrix, guys. Hello,
Yeah.
welcome. And now that you know, if you didn't know, I'm like, you should know if you listen to this podcast already, but if you didn't know we're in a matrix, hello. We are in a 4D world to where I can walk through this door and tell myself when I walk out of that door, I'm gonna have the best day ever, and then I'm gonna meet someone that works on this movie that I really want to work on, and then I'm gonna do it because I'm in a 4D and I can be living this reality, and you're in yours. We're all on Earth, but it's like different, and that's why sometimes too, like UFO sightings, I'll look up and I'll see it, and another person will, but the other person sitting right next to me can't see it because we're literally in different 4Ds on the same Earth, just different little blocks of it
Yeah, little
for each of
bubbles of
us.
it.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah,
true. And
yeah,
I think that with all of that being said, that's why being so discerning about the energies that you are calling in and letting out is so important because it allows for opportunities and experiences like that. Because, when I first started channeling, I didn't know how to turn it on and off. It would literally, the
yeah.
funny thing is, it would always come to me at shows at the beginning. And
Makes
so I
sense.
would just get in this like I don't even want to call it mentality. It's like I would get into this state of being where I'd be like, oh shit, a download's coming through. I have to sit down. And at the time, I was like, I have to write it down in my phone. I was so like, I'm going to forget it. I'm not going to know what was said. Like, I have to have it in, like, at my fingertips. So I would literally, shows, festivals, wherever I was, just sit down and start type, 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 type. Literally, our
Me
friends
that
would be
too.
like, Max, is she okay? And he's like, oh yeah, she's in it. Like,
Yeah, love it.
and then it progressed to where I would just stand there and close my eyes, and my hands would like create some sort of like
Like,
portal
yes.
positioning that I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know. It's always different. And
Yep.
I'll just stand there like still. And same thing. People are like, she good? He's like, oh yeah, she's great. Like,
That is so funny. I told Level Up that at the end of this tour I like need to do like a full on channeling and then like Reiki session with her, just all of our like bodily things we're going through together. So I'm like, let me lock in. She's like, you can like tomorrow. I'm like, girl, I need to get to know you more first so you don't think I'm like too crazy because when I am like that, I'm literally like, like doing the light language with the hands. Like
yeah.
just I'm like, you can't see me like that yet, but one day.
Not yet. We'll get to know each other first.
Yeah, like yeah. I'm normal sometimes.
What the fuck is normal though?
Yeah,
That's the
just
thing.
sometimes in the realms.
But I think that like for me, that progression went from that to where I was like, I have to be in it. I have to be typing, like I have to write this down, to where I learned, wait, no, first of all, we all have that within us and it's not just going to go away. It
Hmm.
might be more subtle to where you might not be able to like see the words in front of you, but once those codes happen within you, they are there. They're not going anywhere and they're going to present themselves to you as you need them again. I think
Not
that
want
that's
it, but need it.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Where else can we go from here? I'm like,
So good. Like aliens. Pot like every time that comes up too at the channeling, I like to tell this one story of Soundhaven a couple years ago. I was sitting with people that I didn't know and like totally just like met these people and like we're kicking it off. I was totally alone with these people and I'm like I was kind of it was whoever was playing I was like getting kind of bored. And I was no hate but I start looking up at the sky and just like looking at the stars and all of a sudden there was like seven-ish like green lights in the sky. And
mm.
sometimes people try to tell me it was the Elon shit. It was not the Elon shit, guys. I know the difference. And so basically they were it lasted long enough. So it these seven like lights that kind of looked, I don't know how to describe how far it was. It was far, but it wasn't. So I'm like bad at that, but it was like kind of like UFO like shaped things. And so they were all like going in different directions. And it lasted long enough that I was like, is it the lasers reflecting? I was like, no. Is it the drone? And then I like, as I'm like, there has to be drones, right? I hear the tiny little drone, like the little buzzy, zee, like come right by me. I was like, okay, it's not a drone. And I look back up, they all sync up and then they shoot away. And I was like, what the fuck did I just see? I start freaking out. I like go back into my car, like I leave. I was like, bye guys. And I go and I'm like sitting there for like an hour, like, oh my
Whoa.
I know what I saw. So no one believed me. A year later, I run into that girl that I was sitting next to that night at this other festival. And she comes up to me. She's like, are we going to talk about those aliens that we saw? I was like, oh my, thank God. I thought I was the only one. But the thing is that everyone else around us, no one else saw it besides us. No one else saw it
Wow.
besides us because all of our other friends that were there, yep, it was only us. And I was like, thank God. And I didn't talk to her about it that night,
Yeah.
so I didn't, it's not, so I was like, wow, it's just so crazy how like both of us could be sitting here looking up and seeing something and everyone next to us is like, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And we fully saw it. And it like even reminded me of a flashback I had to when I was a kid. The other only time I've seen something like that, I was looking out my like front window and I was my grandma was next to me and she's like, "Yeah, bro, look at this." And this is like before drones like were a thing too, but there was like six like red lights like looking like a Christmas tree out in my front lawn and they were like hovering like this and then all of a sudden zoomed off and it came back like I didn't even remember I had that memory until like that was
I
happening
just
to
had
me.
chills. That's
And
wild.
then it gets even crazier. Then I'm telling my sister, and I was like, "Do you remember this?" She wasn't there, but she had that same experience down at our like I grew up on a farm down at our goat barn years later, with the same Christmas tree thing.
Wow.
So who knows? I'm like, "Hey guys, you want to make some cool music together? Let me know."
Right?
I'm like, "What do you want?" I want to know some things, but what do you want to know? Like, let me know.
You're like,
Yeah.
yo, you heard of astral trap? Cause
Yeah. I've heard of this stuff I've been trying to do. Like, and they're like, yeah, girl, we've been sending you the codes.
yeah. They're like, that's
I'm like,
actually
but
us.
who alien are you? Like, which one? Are we the good ones? Or are you the bad ones trying to teach me a lesson? Which one?
You know, I got to pop into the middle of this episode to remind you about the amazing sale that we have going on for Lucid Hydration. LucidHydration.com, that is my husband and my business. Clean electrolytes, functional mushrooms, nootropic herbs, and we are trying to sell out of the product that we have currently so that we're not sitting on a bunch of stock as we take a little hiatus to welcome our baby girl into the world. Head to our website, LucidHydration.com. You get an automatic 30% off every order. And I just announced my next holistic wellness retreat happening in Sedona, Arizona, September 3rd to the 7th. I have a few early bird spots available. I would love to set up a discovery call with you to see if this is a good fit for you. We are going deeper than ever on this particular retreat, and I cannot wait. So make sure that you grab that early bird spot, only $222 down to reserve that spot, and then payment plans available from there. All right, back to our topic.
But
That
yes.
brings me to a super important side note to what we were talking about before when you said, like, are you the good ones? Or are you the ones that are trying to teach me something? So simple when it comes to spiritual hygiene. When you feel like you're channeling something and it's not necessarily like good feels, like Gabrielle mentioned, you can absolutely turn it off by just saying, nope, I'm not open
Nope.
to that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
You have all the
Or
power.
something that I always do when I am channeling and it feels like not my own guides. I'm like, I don't really know this energy. The first thing I always ask is, are you here for my highest good? And sometimes
Yes.
the answer is no. And it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that it's not my highest good at that time. And I'm like, not open to it. Thank you. And I think that that is so
Oh.
important because that's what I learned to do after I started
Yes.
channeling. Because at first, like I said, I was just glued to my phone. And then I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't have to be glued to my phone. And then I'm like, okay, but how do I turn it off? And
Oh
so,
my
like,
goodness.
shifting into that is really important and knowing that it doesn't have to be some crazy thing of like, some ceremony to shut it off or any of that. It can literally
Yeah.
be a sentence in your mind.
And that's the same with like praying or anything else. All it takes is like, obviously, too, like when we speak out loud, those vibrations have power. So, like when you speak out loud, yes, it can have power, but you do it, all it takes is your own mind saying it in your mind that that is enough. And so many like side quests with what you just said too, because like I'm like, which part of the story first? Well, I was gonna say a couple things. One, like this is a crazy side story, but a couple years ago I had like some it was the last time I've participated in psychedelics. I don't know if this is allowed on this page, but I
Absolutely.
had a very dark trip and I thought I wasn't going to come back. Like I genuinely was like, this time's different. And it got to a point where my friend was like, have you tried calling Jesus? I was like, no,
Mm.
like, no. Because at that point, my brain was just the religious version. There's different, you know, Jesus is just like the energy of love. And it's totally, we can go down that rabbit hole of just how it's been spun these days and just
Hmm.
power control and stuff like that. But so at that point, I never tried. And, I was like, fuck it. At that point, I was like, anything. And I like fully sat with myself and I prayed to him. And instantly, poof, I was back on earth. Like it, I, I, ever since that day, I was like, wow. Like, I know that that time I was praying to like myself and my loved ones that have passed, and nothing was stopping until I did that. And not saying that that would work for everybody, but it did work for me instantly. And right after that, I was like, this is crazy too, because right after I was like, okay, let's go on my iTunes and like just play some music to like ground me. And because everyone else was fine, like we only microdose. I was just in the realms.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I put shuffle on, and that's the day and the moment I found that reading from 2017 that my aunt gave me of all of my loved ones. And she starts the reading calling in Jesus, God the Father. I was seeing Kali in the mirror dimension, and she talks about the mirror portals and unconditional love, and only beings of unconditional love can enter the space. And we were literally listening to that whole reading like because everything she said, it's hours long, everything. I keep saying one day I need to like put it on the internet because it's not even just about me. Like just I feel like the information can just be so widely used that I try to put pieces of it in my songs, but like
Yeah.
the whole thing was nuts. And so that's when I ended up going on a tour called Into the Mirror because of that trip and everything I learned. And so yeah, like sometimes like it did take like my brain to almost allow a being of love to like do its job, if that makes sense. But anyways, so there's the I'm like, there's my Jesus story, my Jesus comeback. Ever since then, I was like, I need to like learn this more of like what it really is and the truth of it. And I'm like, we're tight, we're homies. And then there was something else important I was gonna say too. Let me think about it. It was about discernment and channeling and stuff. But it was really good. Now I'm like, fuck, what were you saying? Oh, this was gonna say when you mentioned the you saying, "Are you here for my highest good?" And something that I like to do, like every single day, when I'm especially like I always look over here because my door to like out of my studio, I call it like a little portal. So that's my little portal. And then when I'm getting in my car or getting out of the shower, I always say I'm stepping into my timeline for the greater good of all. Like not even just me, like of universe, whatever that
Yeah.
means. Like, and it works because I'm right here.
Hmm.
I'm chilling right now. It was great, right? So. And I love teaching people that because again, I'm like 4D matrix guys, like you get to decide like and again, like with everything we do in our lives, we have that built up karma and I don't say karma in a negative way, I just mean karma. And so we get to decide that and we build that based on our own minds of what we expect. And so you change your expectations and your whole world will shift instantly. It does not take longer than an instant thought of you stepping into that timeline. And I really challenge everyone to try doing that too. And especially and trust it too, because sometimes when you're like, hey, I'm going into that timeline, something bad will happen right after to our human perspective, right? Bad in quotations, because it looks like it's bad, but it's actually paving the way to get what you want. And you need to go through that to get there. And LS Dream gave me like, he really just locked that in my brain permanently because again, we hear that all the time, but he told me, when I was going through it a couple years ago on tour, he was like, really got to tap into that bird's eye view perspective more of like, if you could see yourself up in the future and you're watching yourself, you would understand that you had to go right in order for you to go left. And,
Yes.
and it just really shifted everything because, when you are just on your spiritual path, like you're like, why isn't everything like perfect? And it's like it can't that perfect is again just the illusion and like technically everything is you're always where you need to be And especially if you're putting that out there intentionally all the time of like, I'm intentionally trying to step in my highest timeline, that version of yourself that's lived that highest timeline has already lived and died. And that's who you connect with. And you connect with that higher self and that guides you. And the day I was even really incorporating the highest self message, it was after I watched Interstellar for like the fifth time. And it was, you know, the story of you are your own ghost because again, there's a version of you, it's lived and died, and it was actually the dad that was the ghost years later, right? And that's the day I had this song High Stranger about my friend Brandon because I was like, I am my own ghost. I can channel my higher self. I can channel Brandon. Like this is all like
Mm-hmm.
the illusion that I can't is an illusion. And right after, boop, got this notification on my phone from Brandon. Yeah. Yeah.
So wild. That,
Yeah.
like, I mean, every single one of your songs has so much soul and so many codes, but that,
Uh,
when that came out, I was mind blown. Like, I was so
Thank
shook.
you.
I had immediate tears streaming down my face. Like, holy shit.
And that's the thing, like it wasn't even for me. It was for you guys and like everyone
Mm-hmm.
else because like the way like, you know, the time when I got that message, like I guess I'll like tell the story quick too. Like I was again, like I was really I woke up and that morning like I was in bed still and I was like embodying, like I was literally in that moment thinking about like I am my own ghost, like Matrix shit. And I get a notification on my phone that said to follow Brandon on Instagram, and I click it and I realize that on Instagram and on his page it says that he's passed. Why would Instagram randomly recommend me a notification of an account that it knows has been inactive for around 9 years now? You know, like that account is inactive. It literally says that he's passed on it. And so at first I was like, wow, like that's beautiful in itself. I realized that day another friend in our group got engaged. Like there's a baby shower that day. Like there was so much in our friend group happening that I was like, oh, he's just coming through to say hi. But then it hit me. I was like, there has to be more to this because of my own just like witchiness. I was like, I got to like tap in because I just knew there was more. And so I went to our messages and there was only one message in there from years ago. And it was a clip of that video and it said, hi, stranger, it's been a while. And I was like, oh my God, like what's up? And I thought that was it. Like that was cool enough. And the next day, my friend Christy was here and we're going in and we're like, wait, there's a longer version of this video. And so before we found the video, we say out loud to him, we're speaking out loud. We're like, hey, I'm struggling with this song. I'm struggling with what, like all of our specific struggles. We put that video on, and I kid you not, it directly spoke back to every little thing. Like everything it was like I was having a full on conversation with him. And like, you know, he said like it's hard to create things sometimes. And, you know, just the whole message. And I was like, I have to make a song about this. And it wasn't until years later that I did because I didn't know how to like necessarily do it justice, which in my ego mind, I'd still say it could be better. But, you know, it's just about the message and I wanted to get it out. And we got the rights from the original like creator of that, which was so like, that usually never happens. They're always usually like, fuck you. And so just getting the rights and being able to actually officially drop it everywhere and like give that to people and like have that moment. Like I play it in the middle of my set to like bring people back. And it's a moment for me to take it in and everyone else. And the feeling every night of like hearing people take that in is like it just makes me want to like bust out crying in like the happiest way because I'm just so grateful that like my Brandon can be there and like is literally working with me to help I guess the collective and like and relay these messages and that he's like everyone's spirit guide at this point and how much work we were going to be doing together in this life even since he's passed and just like the stories I have with him are just like not he knew like all of this shit about me before he passed. And so first week he passed, he was in my dream like on a cliff with me, like we get to go here. And so if anything, it makes me feel like a little guilt in a way of everyone else that when he was lost, he was gone. And so I just love to show like his friends and family of like how active he really still is. And it's been almost 10 years now. And he's still, if not more active than ever. And it's just so beautiful, like the type of relationship and so like dark, like at the same time, it's so hard to like really describe of like missing the physical and like wanting to like physically hug him and like only getting that in a dream and still feeling like not 100% satisfied, but like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that it's a different relationship and I'm very grateful for it and all the lessons he's taught me since he's passed. And, you know, I wouldn't be here in Brandon. I wouldn't have my manager, Brandon. I wouldn't like have met and like lived the life I did if it wasn't like for his soul and like knowing how many lifetimes we've probably spent together and will. And it's just yeah, it's like and every day too I'm like, Brandon, like I know you busy dude up there in the realms, like you can, you know, like you can depart. Like I don't know what that mean, you know, like I don't know, I know you're fine, but like you're like really active every second. Like I'll be talking about him and you'll hear a train go off in the background. I'm like, let's go. And I connect trains with him. A lot of the imagery like in my project, like we have like blue butterflies, like magic 8 ball flowers and trains. It's all like kind of little pieces of him in my imagery. It's like hidden too. Like I have my album art behind me and there's like a little tiny train in the window. So I like to just like put little Easter eggs of him everywhere. And so then like if people, if you know, you know, and just seeing it like develop and become what it is today, like to the point where I can even play it and use it for my like level up tour and use it with her and our songs together because there's so much he says and does that it just like it's I'm like I wonder how many songs we're gonna end up making together because he's got a lot of cool ideas for me and a lot of the times I'll get my ideas from like dreams with him. So like even my next like album concept I have already because I've been seeing all these signs from him of like every time I have like a big album concept or something, I'm like, what do you guys want me to call it? Let me know. And eventually it like comes. I'll like try to name it something else and it like won't work. So yeah, so now I know and it's gonna be really cool and just seeing all of like the years of the stories come together with the project and like kind of Brandon manifesting into that more and more each day. It's just it's really special. And it's special to like see in the music and live and like get to see people's reaction or see people like singing the words of certain songs dedicated to him. I'm like, oh, like you guys know the songs and like you
Oh.
know him? Like you guys pray to him too. He's really good. He's really good at like he's listening. And so yeah, it's special. And then my friends that didn't know him now. Like feel like they know him through their spirit relationship with him. That's crazy. Like friends that I've met like since he's passed that are close
Mhm.
with him. It's nuts. It's
That
nuts.
is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
relatable. The first thing that comes to mind when you just said that is a dear friend of mine. Her name is Lyric, and she has been like very obviously soul fam from the second we like locked eyes. I was like, you. And she's literally the reason that my husband and I are together. Like she saw him across the crowd at like Beyond Wonderland in 2021 and was like, we need to go talk to him now. Like it was just that was it. And her mother passed away when she was in college. And I have always felt such a deep connection to her, and I never knew her. And I know that she is like part of my soul fam spirit team. And so I can definitely relate to that. And how powerful is it that
Yeah.
you are open to channeling him into your music and utilizing some of these gifts that he's given and saying, hey, everyone else needs to know him too. And being open to that is something that I think a lot of people aren't necessarily because of their own, human process, which isn't bad or good. It's
Yeah.
just different. And
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that you were like realizing and really harnessing the fact that we are a collective, right? And we are all here to help each other. And we all have this thread between each of us. And that
Yes.
it's not just about me. It's not just about you. It's not just about him. It's about how we can all be here as one. And sometimes we get so caught up in like our own narrative, our own experience, like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Like you mentioned before, the bad, the good, right? I firmly believe that every single thing happens for a reason. And that sounds so cliche, but I genuinely believe it because people all the time can say, well, then why, do such horrible, heinous things happen to some people and not to others? Because for whatever reason, their soul decided to sign up for that contract. I don't have
And
the answers.
yeah, because sometimes people get upset because, you know, we go through really hard things. Like we go through things we didn't know we could get through. But the thing is we got through it and your soul
Hmm.
would never take in things that it can't grow and be stronger from. Like the fact that some people could probably listen to this and be like, well, then why did I have to go through this horrible thing? It's like, because you were strong enough to get through it. You
Hmm.
specifically. I wouldn't have been, you know,
Yep.
I'm not learning that. I'm not going through those pains that you are because that's not part of my journey. Maybe that's something I could not have taken on, but
Yep.
it's something that you are strong enough to take on and get through and
Hmm.
learn from. And it's made you so much cooler because of it too, right? Like, how do I take my trauma and like transmute that into something that I can share with the world and teach, and hopefully like maybe it can prevent someone from going through something like that or seeing the signs before or something like that. It's so important to like look at it from that perspective. And then people say too of like, well, if God is real, why is there bad things? Well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the biblical God that you think, if the biblical God, whatever that thing is, maybe the one that's like controlling or the ones that you think is controlling, maybe that would be true. Like maybe the controlling God would be controlling, but again, there's an ultimate, in my opinion, creator here that's above all of this stuff. And if there was truly free will, then yeah, bad things are going to happen because we are given that free will. Now, if we had a
Mm-hmm.
bad God and we didn't have free will and everything had to be perfect and butterflies, then we'd be living a totally different life of like it wouldn't be like this. We would be in
Mm-hmm.
control. We would be controlled. And so it's sad because you get free will, but at the same time, free will does not mean all butterfly and
Yep.
rainbows. And it means a lot of evil and destruction and horrible, horrible things. And if anything, I try to look at it from a place of like gratitude instead of like, because when I see a lot of the evil things going on, I feel like guilty and like, what
Mm-hmm.
more can I do? Like, I wish I could just like take a stand in front of everyone and be like, this must end now, but I
Yeah.
can't. And so, what can I do little in the meantime? And for me personally, that means putting that back into my music and
Mm-hmm.
having everyone scream at the end of the night, like, we will be victorious. And just certain songs that I flip and that I make that I can feel the collective coming back together. Because
Yes.
it's so important. Like collective consciousness is like everybody needs to know this because people are like, oh, it's happening across the world. It doesn't affect me. Yes, it
Yep.
does. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
We're all connected through this magical earth, and we all have these invisible strings. And it is important to have the compassion because we literally live in a world full of love. And when you think of things, it can manifest in a loving way. And so when you put those like intentions towards things, like it really does have the power to heal. And like if everyone got together and like meditated the whole time with the intention of like shifting to this timeline, I feel like we could do
A
it. So that's
hundred
why I'm like,
percent.
guys, let's learn. Like, we're to the front lines. We're not bringing guns to the front lines. We're bringing our magical brain powers to the
Mm-hmm.
front lines. Get that telekinesis ready, baby. Like,
Yes.
we're teaching people how to go beyond all of this stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy because people can't necessarily fathom the 4Dness of it is that easy, the snap of the finger. And we're all collectively in this stew pot. So sometimes too, when people are like, well, I didn't do that. Well, we're all experiencing it. So we all have a piece of this, like that almost enabled it in a way. Like the fact we're all connected, we're all this oneness. Those evil people out there, we're still connected to them in ways too. And so,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole nother theory because it's like, well, are these people, do these people
Yeah.
have souls? Who knows? But like, like some of them are like, you can't, there can't be anything in
Mm-hmm.
there. But like it's still like if you think about it, like right now, the most heinous shit's going on. At the same time, the most people are waking up at like a quick pace.
I
And so
keep
we try
saying
to
this.
focus on like
Yes.
that of like more people are waking up to these horrors and letting people wake up, letting the ones that had the, I guess you could say in quotes, wrong opinion wake up to a different one and letting them learn and join the space of like, baby, welcome to the party. It's time to
Mm-hmm.
wake up, catch up or get left at this point. And just like in the power of prayer, not again, not it doesn't have to be in a religious way. It can just be in any way that means for you of like manifesting like again, what I like to say, the greater good of all, like the great
Mm-hmm.
of everyone. Like I would love, obviously, everyone would love to live in a world with butterflies and rainbows, and everyone's fed and happy and healthy, and everyone's waking up to the fact that we live in an exact opposite world, controlled by really evil, sick
Mm-hmm.
individuals, and that there's really not much that we can do to take away that power besides like stepping into our own personal power
Yes.
and how that transmutes into the collective. Like again, the more not in a selfish way, like stay hip to what's going on, but like send what's going on love at each like before you scroll, send that situation love
Yes.
and and pray for them. And it is more powerful than you think. It really is. And I wish everyone could kind of like almost step into that mindset more and like let go of the ego-ness of like God is like silly or like religion things. Like it's just so much deeper than that. And I love to tell people too, if you didn't see a new Avatar, go see the new Avatar movie because I feel like it just explains everything we've been talking about so well. I don't know if you've seen it. You have to see
You
it.
know what's crazy is that I was supposed to see it like a few days after the new year with my husband and a couple friends. I was having the craziest energetic purge over the new year.
Yeah.
And it was definitely very necessary, but I was the sickest I've been in 5 years. Like, I don't really get sick. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, heard. I'm staying in bed. So I didn't get to go see it with them. But my husband came back and he goes, Rachel, I was sitting there the whole time going, oh my God, Rachel would love this, like every
You
single thing. So I still do need to see it.
It just like it embodies what's going on in the world, the chaos, the beauty, the divine connection to God, the synchronicities of like at one point, again, without giving it away, she had like blood on her hands and she knew not to she had like red dye on her hands and she knew if she was going to do the next move, she would have actual blood on her hands. So she knew just
Mm.
by the synchronicity. It's like it talks about just finding God, being able to see
Hmm.
God, and like all the horrors in the world, when to fight, how to fight. Like at one point, the whales, like the ancient whales, were like, we don't, it goes against our ways, but how do you like transmute that again? Like at one point, all
Hmm.
forces of nature come together to for the greater good.
Wow.
Even if originally that creature that was like in the forest was like a wolf that wanted to eat you, now at one point it all like everyone connected to nature is connected, and
Hmm.
we all know, and it's like it was magical. And then just showing like the way that like social media impacts people. Like it was so powerful. It was like James Cameron, let me on the soundtrack. Life goal. I'm like that in the Trolls movie. Let me in. Let me
Yes. I have been saying literally for years now, like, yes, there is so much shit happening in the world. Yes, it is scary. Yes, there's a lot going on, and more people than ever are awakening, right? And that's literally why my DJ name with my husband is Awaken, is like when we
love.
spell it like Awakein, awaken within, because every single one of us is in that.
Love.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry. I love when the names just like are intentional with the spelling and stuff like that. And like, yeah, just the play on words like that. I'm like, ooh.
Thank you. But yeah, that's literally what's happening right now, is that there are more people collectively awakening to what is within us, which is God, which is this thread between all of us. Like, we are all connected. And for whatever reason, every single one of our souls chose to incarnate during this time. And it makes me really sad when, we have a lot of friends that are like, there's no way I would want to bring a kid into this world. Like, look what's happening. And I'm like, the reason we decided for sure to have a child is because we felt like it was a duty, a part of our soul contract, to bring a genuinely good human onto this earth, a soul that is
I
so loved and
love that
cared for.
perspective. That's a really good point because the other day someone was asking me and Level Up, and obviously like Level Up, she's married, they're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
babies. They're asking me, and I was like, well, I don't know, like because I want to make sure like if I am gonna bring a child into this world, I am like what I am my mind is like ready to take on that challenge of like I would create something to make it a better place
Mm-hmm.
and or at least attempt that because you never know too,
Yeah.
right? Like but and so I always said too like if it gets to a point where I feel like I need to wait it out too long to where I can't have babies, I will be adopting and saving the kids
Mm-hmm.
that are already here. And I just love that perspective too. Like you guys just from talking to you right now, like this like it's the type of parents that we need and like the fact that you're going to
Thank
get to
you.
teach your kid like from a young age about the power of magic and like all these magical things like you're literally like going to raise a force in this world and it's so special and like I can't wait for this generation of parents too that are like more awake and can do these things because like I think back to my parents in that generation it's like they're so closed off and you can't even blame them because
Mm-hmm.
that's just was their reality
Yep.
and that was just what they were taught and so just like seeing this and sometimes with my parents too I'm like I still wake them up in like little ways but they're still
Mm-hmm.
stuck in their ways and not that I can't blame that but I'm very excited to see this like generation of people that are just like you that are open to things, open to new
Mm-hmm.
things and to different things and concepts and ideas about the soul. And how special that is. And like it's even crazier too that like your baby right now too, like its spirit just like been watching you too. And like and that fact that your grandpa's like holding him right now
I
too and like
know.
and gets to meet it and like guide him in. Like it's so beautiful. I'm like that's why I'm like, ugh, I wish we could like see more of like the realms too, because like I want to watch like
Right?
like exchange, you know, like and that's like another like side thing too. This is so random, but side quests like anytime like someone's born or someone passes, like they have their visitors in the room. We call them like the visitation. And like when I was little, my aunt used to like train us in that, like she'd bring us to the hospital room and be like, "Who's here?" And so like
Whoa.
yeah, so I was like, I hope you're ready for all your spirit team to be, or they're gonna be like, yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah.
In not a weird way too, because I'm always like, are they watching me like pee? Half the time too, though, when I'm in the shower, I'm getting crazy downloads, and I'm just like, it's not like that. It's just, I mean, it kind of like, you know, some people in the astral say like it actually is like very sexual in the astral. Like, there's the Monroe Institute, Robert Monroe. I forget which state it's in, the Monroe Institute. If you haven't heard of it, you need to look it
Mm-mm.
up. It's basically where they study out of body experiences for since like the 70s, I think. But I just read his books and insane, talks about everything we've been talking about, but like it dives into the astral, the different parts of the astral, when you cross on angels, spirits, multidimensional beings, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever you want to call it, creator. I almost feel like sometimes for some of these words we need like new words because it's been so like
Yeah.
misused. Like sometimes when you say God, people are like, eh. It's like I'm not. Oh, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about that kind. You know, like I don't know how to explain it. Um, not a physical man. But you know, like I'm not talking about some scary man in the
Yeah.
sky. No, no, no. And it's you know, I think it's so important that people like learn kind of learn that difference, and then when they are I just lost my train of thought. I totally just lost my train of thought. Gone. Zero. They said, stop talking about that. I was talking about visitors, but yeah, basically, more of the story is we all have our visitors, and that's going to be exciting because I'm like, I wonder who's going to be in your room with you and your son and everyone and our daughter. I keep saying son for some reason. It was just so weird. Like, I was in my car and I saw that little shoe, and I lit it like my first thing, like, because usually I would just throw it off, like, it's just something there. And I was like mindful of I don't again I don't know how to describe it, but like it was a thing and I was like someone today there's something with someone I'm meeting today with like a baby
Yeah.
that yeah so
Here I am in the flesh. Super side quest. Months ago, this woman was like, "Oh my God, congratulations." She was like, "Let me give you one piece of advice that you probably haven't heard." And I'm like, everyone's always giving advice when you're pregnant. And she said, "The best piece of advice I ever received that has helped me tremendously." She's like, "I have two daughters, like 18 and 21." She said, "Let them introduce themselves to you as they grow up." And I was like, boom, done. That's it. That's all it is. That's all you have to do. Like, it makes so
love
much sense.
love so magical. I'm like me and my cats, I feel like that they're my babies and like watching them grow up too, but I always think too like if I had a kid, that kid would be a special weird creature thing. I would have to like be very mindful. I'm like, how much is it time to teach you about the pyramids yet? I'm like, do you know about giants? You know about the aliens? I'm like, just you wait.
It is interesting because coming back to when you were talking about how people get a little bit like locked up when it comes to talking about Jesus or God, I grew up in a Catholic household for most of my, childhood. My mom's Catholic. And when I got to eighth grade, I basically was like, I don't want to keep going to Sunday school and all this stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. And she was like, okay, cool. Like, that's your decision. But she made me up until that point do all the things.
Same.
And I feel like I had such a block there literally until a few years ago
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't want anything to do with
Yeah.
religion, God, Jesus, none of it. And now it's like, I feel like when you really open yourself up to other realms, you realize that they're all just these entities that we can choose how we view them, but they're there. And
Yes.
when it comes to Jesus, I love how you were talking about during that trip, you were able to call on him and literally he's just love. And I still to this day now believe he was just a olden day hippie that was trying to be like,
He
yo, let's love each
was.
other. And then everyone was like
Yeah,
twisting the
and they
fuck out of
took
his
his yeah,
words.
they took his teachings and they brainwashed it. I personally think that like all religions, they have truth to them, but I still think it's there to keep us
Mm-hmm.
stuck. And I think that if we like kind of combine the teachings from all of it, we could come to like a similar conclusion because it's all like very similar
Yes,
metaphors of the same
exactly.
story and even like the same ent so like in Greek mythology there's Hecate and then in um Hinduism, there's Kali, and technically those are two different entities, but technically they both represent the same thing. And then you
Mm-hmm.
get even higher, so it's like, okay, creator, and then all these little offspring of that too, and like different hierarchies of angels and deities and whatever you want to call it. And Jesus is just like a very powerful, special one of those that's full of
Yep.
love. And again, what gives things power is the thought and the fact that everyone knows of this thing, this being, Jesus, gives it more power, whether he walked or he didn't walk the earth. It's
Mm-hmm.
becomes real. And plus I love to tell people too, like, what's today's date? Oh, you mean our whole entire life and time of our life is based off of after Jesus walked, apparently? It's
Mm-hmm.
still like whether he did or didn't, our timeline is still based off of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hidden there in so many ways and shapes and forms, and you can connect to that without having to go to the church or read a Bible.
Yeah.
And you can have a relationship without the fear of like, well, what if you're not perfect? No one's like, there's
We're
just
not
that
supposed to
fear
be.
especially in like I feel like Christians like the fear of like well this is the ultimate and it's like
Mm-hmm.
well who knows like there's still I just don't I will never be able to I guess understand the fear of it because again like it just doesn't make sense with all the studies and things I do I just can't relate and I think it's really special to be able to like separate the two and be able to still channel that when needed or and um and to have that backing like I like realized like maybe that was why I was raised that way because I didn't like it or appreciate it when I was raised that way but then when I needed it it was there and
Mm-hmm.
I'm very thankful for that and I'm thankful for the perspective I have and even though I wouldn't consider myself like religious I do like appreciate the teachings I appreciate the metaphors so many similarities like the Great Flood probably did happen
Mm-hmm.
right? Like all this shit probably did happen. Maybe not in
Yeah.
the way, but because it keeps us down and it keeps us kind of stuck. But I'm excited because I see more people like, especially like people on like opposite side, kind of waking up to these truths. And then there's still like there's astral projecting, but then they're like, but Christianity, and I'm like, well, one little step further up that, like you're very close. Not that again, I'm not. Sometimes when I say that, I almost sounds like I'm like putting myself on like a pedestal of like I know this and you don't. But I still like I'm like I still know freaking nothing. And again, this is just off my life experience, so who knows? But I do like I from my studies and my life experience, like I study this every day. There is so much more out there, and there are tons of multidimensional beings not just
Mm-hmm.
Jesus and not just Bastet and all like there are so many we don't even know about and that's why again it is like important to like yeah protect your space you have to know that you're boss you have to know you got God within otherwise you're pretty much toast if you're like oh I'm just a baby and like you're like let me play with demons it's like well what do you expect brother like they're like oh I'm waiting for you and what even is a demon too because then like another like little side story I like to tell is when I was back living at my mom's house, I lived in a basement and my room was with no windows, so it was scary. And I kept having these dreams with this like dark entity. I'd have dreams where I'm in the bedroom, like using a Ouija board, and so it was bad. And so
Damn.
one of the times too, I had a dream, but I'm sitting up in my bed in the dream, and there's like a Joker guy, like the same dude, standing in front of me. He's like, "When I count to three, you're gonna wake up." And he's like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "One, two, three," and he snaps his fingers and
Ah.
like disappears into like this pile of clothes I have, and then I actually shot up out of bed, even though it felt like I was already sitting up. Like I like shot back up, and so then at that point I was like, you know what, I'm done with this motherfucker, right? I was like, I'm done with you. So then the next time I saw him in a dream, I was in this like white room with him, and I was like, you, and I was like, I love you. And I was like, give me a hug, give me a kiss. And I was chasing him around the room, trying to tell him I love him and to give me a kiss. And I haven't seen him since. And so the
Whoa.
moral of the story of that is number one, Like when I say like demon or dark energy, again, that's just like my perspective. And like maybe that was something subconscious in me that I had to send love because
Mm.
again, like my mind's still, no matter what, my mind's still creating all of this. And so
Yeah.
even if I'm having this experience that feels very real, it's still there in part of my subconscious mind that I needed to look into and I needed to tell it I loved it. And I haven't seen it since.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times too, again, I get to tell that story. So was it really a demon if I'm getting to tell this beautiful story of growth of like, I learned this lesson of giving myself love to parts of myself I didn't know were there. And like, and so yeah, I just learned so many beautiful things from like these dark moments. Like when I had that bad trip, and after that I called in Jesus and then I found that, that reading and then I made the music and I made a tour. Like if I didn't have those terrible, freaking scary things happen to me, then I wouldn't be able to be sitting here and transmuting it and telling those stories too. So was it really dark? Like who knows?
Mm-hmm.
If I were to open a fridge and see an orange right now, I'd probably be upset because I'm like, I'm more hungry than that. But I'm not really. I'm just like pissed because I'm used to having more food. But then if someone that genuinely like hasn't eaten in a while saw the orange, they'd be so thankful for that orange.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the emotion towards that orange. I'm like deciding if it's good or bad. And that's the same with like everything out there. And so if we just kind of look at everything from that perspective, what can I learn from you? And nothing's like necessarily scary anymore. And when I feel fear, I'm like, I'm jumping into it. I'm jumping it. When I feel like scared to do something, I'm like, sign me up. That's why I'm playing Red Rocks. I
Oh my
was so
God.
scared. Yeah, I was like, I guess I have to do it. I don't have an excuse anymore. So
All the more
no, I'm very
reason to.
excited. But
Yeah,
yeah,
literally.
exactly. And yeah, so I just like I've tried to like when I'm scared of something, I'm at least trying to like dive into it. Or like when my brain tells me like in the past, like anxious, like you can't go to that grocery store by yourself. What if you get kidnapped? What? I'm gonna go right now. Like I'm gonna prove you wrong. So it's like a little like game I have in my head of like when my head's telling me something like ding dong, I'm like, okay, let's do the opposite of let's do something cool. So
I love that. I think something that I'm so excited about when it comes to parenthood is like really, I know that my spiritual journey will continue to evolve and allowing mine to evolve and showing to my child that there is no one right way. Nothing is good or bad. Everything can be neutral. Like, hopefully, helping to infuse this mentality and perspective of the world without trying to like form her own perspective. Like, I think that it's going to be an interesting lesson for me
I
and
mean,
for
we're
my
gonna have a
husband.
world
Like,
leader on our hands. Jesus is coming back, guys. It's through her baby.
oh God, I don't want
Yeah, I'm
that
like, wait,
pressure.
what do you do? Isn't Easter soon or something? Like,
Literally,
weren't they
Easter
saying
is
that
like
2026 is when he comes back? At this point, I believe it. I'm like, listen, anything at this point. We need anyone. Like, if they want to say he's coming back and people are like, he's not, I'm like, who ca At this point, I would love it. Who cares? Let's bring him back. It's gonna be you. It's your baby girl.
oh God, I don't
Baby
want
girl
that
slash
pressure.
boy. Who knows? If it
oh my
pops out and
God.
it's secretly a boy, I'm gonna be gagged. He'll
But
be a
like,
tom girly like me. Like when I was growing
oh,
up, I
got
was
it.
like full on tomboy. My dad thought that I was okay. My dad thought that I was gay, and so he would make me wear dresses to school. I'm like, couldn't change me, brother. You thought. I'm like, I still wear my big t-shirts and I still would kiss a girl if I needed to. Who knows? Maybe you'll have someone like me. She'll pick out the longest basketball shorts she can find, and then she'll be really cool.
Should be a fucking badass, honestly, no
I
matter what.
can't wait. I'm like, I can't wait to watch this. When my manager was having a baby, he's 2 years old now, but I remember being like, but when he
Aw.
was in the realms, I was like, I can't wait to meet this alien. Like, I have so many questions for you. Like, what do you know? Like, what do you remember? Tell me before you forget.
I saw this post on social media like probably a year ago at this point, and it was all quotes from children like 5 and under about what they remembered from being in the womb or being in other realms. And they could literally verbatim say like certain sentences that they heard their parents say or certain things that they knew that their parent was experiencing when they were in the womb. And I'm trying really hard not to hold on to outcomes because maybe she won't be as spiritual as me, but I just don't see that happening. But I'm like, tell me everything. Like
Oh
what did you
my
see?
God.
What do
I
you
cannot wait
know?
for that. I'm like, you got to let me know. And next time you live in Seattle, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
because, okay, I was going to say, I was like, next time I do base camp or something, we're like, we have to bring the crystal child. We're bringing
Yes.
her. You guys come with me. We got,
Literally.
I can't wait. I love that with kids too. That's why I'm like, ugh, I'm like, maybe I should have been like a little school teacher too, because I'd love to like be around more kids. And like, I'm too like ding dong to have my own kid right now. Like, listen. So, but I'm like, I would love to just be around and like just babysit all the kids or just like teach the kids everything because like I had that growing up and no one else really had that. And I think we need more of that. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. We go to school and learn like the most lied shit ever by like the people that they just lie and teach us so
Mm-hmm.
many messed up things that it's like, okay, why aren't we learning about like the most important, like we're learning about like fake laws in government. Why don't we learn about the universal laws? Like there's
Yep.
like universal laws here. Like we should be learning about those, not
Mm-hmm.
like the fake made up alien ones of like you're illegal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always say that. I'm like, I would love to just like get to teach. Like I've been teaching at some festivals, just like the vision board classes, but
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do that for children too. And like, just to go, you know, like when you're like your kid, you have like the assemblies where like a speaker would come in and like,
Yeah.
let me in, coach, put me in. Let me go to elementary schools. I will not cuss. I will be good and I will teach them about the realms in a good way. I was 14. I would literally like know there was a spirit and I would have to do this whole like ritual thing, calling God, calling Jesus, open up the white light portal gate and like send these. Like when I was 14, I was doing that. So I'm like, yeah, guys, let me teach you.
I love that. We plan on homeschooling her. So it's going to be like,
Love.
yeah, we're going to go. She's like telling her friends, like, yeah, I went on a field trip. Like, oh, where'd you go? Oh, I went to see my Auntie Gabrielle. Oh, okay, cool. Like, what was that? Oh, it was at the gorge. Like,
We were learning telekinesis, then we watched dubstep. Us in the green room, like trying to move the paper. No, literally, that's me though. Literally, I'm like, guys, come on, let's do something cool. I would love that. I'm like, it's gonna happen. It's
hell
gonna happen.
yeah.
I have also like already assigned myself the role to all of my friends' babies too. I'm like, just call me the weird witch aunt. I will happily take that
I want
title.
her to have all of the witchy ants. Like, I
Yeah,
literally
like
cannot wait for that.
yeah, like just all the crystal gifts and stuff like that. Because I still have all mine. Like, because when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you're like, wow, like fairies are real. And like, we used to do like we used to like chant around fairy rings. Like we, some of the stuff that I like remember that we did too. I'm like, what? Okay, that is like interesting. It'd be a full moon and there'd be a giant rock labyrinth, and my aunt would stand in the middle, and we'd all like walk this ritual.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, we would like manifest, and I'm like, wow, like I guess it worked because like here
Yeah.
I am, and like my siblings are like we're doing great, and so I'm like it works. So I think
Hell
that we should
yeah.
definitely teach more kids, and I'm like homeschool more kids too.
Mm-hmm.
Not judging if you can't homeschool, but I definitely like love to hear when people are homeschooled and just get to learn on their own pace and be actual humans, not be like a slave to the system all day, every day.
Oh my God, the more that I learn about like the school systems and just like the more that's
Oh yeah, more
connecting the dots,
recently
I'm like,
too.
fuck no.
Yeah. More recently too, where it's like the Maxwells are like in charge of the like the textbooks and the photos.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much darkness connected. And
So
it's like
much.
crazy because like the sad thing is there's not like a true escape out of it except for like our own minds and like creating our
Mm-hmm.
own little worlds. And that's why important to have like small communities. And it's also why I love the EDM community so much because it is like an
Yes.
escape. Obviously, it's like very political too, and music is like, again, one of my favorite ways to like get a message across, especially like politically. Like, I end all of my sets with like a remix of the song Uprising by Muse. And again, like just hearing everyone scream the words of like, they won't control us, we'll be victorious, and like hearing
Mm-hmm.
everyone like sing it passionately is so powerful. And like it's just I hope that like people can obviously it's people can go online and post a story of what's going on, and I'll do that too, but I think the most important thing like as an artist especially when some artists are like, I feel hopeless. It's like, use your art, put it in your music, like make a new banger, a hit of like all the things happening, but like you can
Hmm.
do it in like a fun way, you know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like a fun game I almost have with myself of like, okay, like how can I like get this message across and that I think is really important, but like do it in a way that's going to hold people's attention. And so
Hmm.
like even like on a silly note, this year I have like this whole song of me and my friends, we have alien mask on and we're literally just messing around for the
Yeah.
visuals. But the whole thing, we're spilling like real tea of like plasma and plasmoids and just all of, like very important topics that I feel like we should learn about. And it's in like the silliest way. So people are like listening to it and taking it in. And then when they go back and they're like, wait a minute, it's like, yep, like this is all real stuff that I'm sampling. It's not like something I just made up. That's why it's really fun too. I took my show now too, like the first 10 minutes, I took this real government hearing of when they had a hearing recently in like September of they're basically kind of exposing everything about the aliens. It got pushed under the water. Like no one saw it.
Hmm.
I did. Sucks for them because I put it in all my music and I made it in like a silly way. Like they were dropping all of the tea. Like they were dropping everything. Just aliens, what they look like, where they come from, blah 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 blah, with everything. And and like I basically took it and it was like there's a part where it's like you said they emerged from the ocean and then the beat drops and it's like something that's really serious and like really intense to really process and I'm like okay, let's make it silly but like let's take it's all real. So that's why I
Hmm.
think it's like even cooler because everything that I put into my like obviously like as an artist you can like make up your own world and like fiction and create things that you're like oh it's just fun and games like Sudden Death tries to say it's just for fun.
Yep.
Is it no hate to sudden death, but I'm like, is it for fun? Who knows? I was saying like the you know, it's the way that we can like take these characters and like and transmute them and put them into our art. Like obviously I can take the coolest thing is like all of my stories that maybe someone thinks I made up is based off of a true story or based
Hmm.
off of a real event that happened and none of it's actually made up. I'm like everything you hear that sounds silly like about the aliens, I'm like I got that from a real real hearing and or real podcast or scientist or book or something. So I just yeah, I love getting to like put that into the sets and like make my set like you're watching like a movie almost of like here's everything I think that
Hmm.
you could maybe benefit from knowing but in a silly light way.
Yeah.
And and yeah, no one target me.
And what's cool about that is that everyone can take different pieces from it.
Yeah.
Like one person's going to remember that, another person's going to remember like the
Yeah.
words from Brandon, another person's going to remember
Yeah.
something completely different. And
Yeah.
no matter what, it's having a positive
Yeah.
impact on
Yeah.
every single person in that place.
I hope.
It
Sometimes people are
absolutely
like
is.
looking at me and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm kooky. Yeah, I
Girl,
know.
I saw the repost that someone you reposted the other day that came to your show was like, I've been to like shows for 15 years or something, and this was the best show I've ever been to in my entire life. And I was like,
That made me literally cry. I was like, no
oh,
way. What a compliment. Like that means so much. Every single word that I mean, every single sound that you hear too, but specifically when I have words in the EDM set, like it is very intentional. Like
mm-hmm.
every single word, even if it's like at one point I play like a milli in my set, but it says I'm ill. And it's like right after I'm like saying all this alien shit and it's like I'm ill. Like, yeah, I'm crazy. But like everything is like very like that's part of my OCDness too. Like it has to be like that in my brain for me to want to play a show, but it is all straight to the point and every single word is intentional. So I love that like people can pick up on like little things here and there and then maybe they'll see it again online and like pick up on another part that like happened really quick because some of
Yeah.
it is like really quick, but it's all there for a reason. And I'm excited for you to see my show this year too, because you're gonna like it. And I did like a new after High Stranger, there's like a moment where I have like visuals of Brandon in there now and my aunts. And something I left out
Wow.
about my aunt Sandy too, she's blind. And the way that she can see ghosts, like she can see spirit and she can't see human, which is nuts. She has a
Wow.
cataract, which would like make her like it adds to her witch vibe so much. Like she red hair, long skirt, all the jewels, just like the whole she plays the role so well. Um And yeah, like she's like blind, so she can see, like that's how she knows the difference between human and spirit, because she can't see a
Wow.
human, but she can see spirit. Nuts. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So like
so
we'll be like
cool.
driving like down the road with her, and there won't even be like, it'll be like maybe zero point 0.2 miles away. She's like, there's a we're gonna be passing a graveyard soon in a second. And that's because too, like especially on hills with graveyards, like with the graves move. So like she was picking up on like where the graves were under the ground instead of like up on the hill, which was further
Whoa.
away. Yeah, so it was, yeah, she's creeping me out. I mean, I have a lot of like amazing, beautiful stories with her, but I also have a lot of like scary shit. Like I was
Yeah.
introduced to like scary ghosts when I was a kid, and
Mm.
like and I it got to a point where at my uncle's house where we do a lot of this stuff, we weren't even allowed in his basement by the time like he moved out. There was like years we were like shunned from going down there because there was so much activity that it was just, and I think part of the reason, this is another fun fact that, so my uncle, his house where he used to live was right next to this man named Henry, who was a big guy in the Lakota tribe. And so, if you don't know about that, music festivals actually come from Native American practices, which are they would do sun dances, which is the festival. They have totem poles. They everything that we do stems from those ceremonies. And so, the real one of the last real ceremonies was at this neighbor's house every single year. Once a year, you'd have to be invited, and they'd go for a week and they'd do like their festival. And it was nuts. But I feel like some of that activity that I guess was open there is what made it kind of go into my uncle's house. We're like, we're just white people. We don't know how to
What?
handle you guys. Like, what the fuck? Go back over there. Go, shoo. But I have like ceramic projects when I was in middle school of like the ghosts we would see, and like the shit we'd have to do of like closing these portals, and the holy water. Like she'd be like, "Rah, rah, rah," like just spitting these
Whoa.
songs. That's why I found out like spells and like hexing were real too. And I was like, I'm never gonna do that again. 'Cause it just like gets and it's very
Mm-hmm.
real. And I'm like, I believe in like threefold too. So like if even if I'm gonna send a hex out, I'm still like I wouldn't want to ever do that again because I don't want anything to do with that person's energy. Karma's
Mm-hmm.
very real, so they're gonna get it anyways. I don't there's like no reason for spells, if that makes sense. Like there's no reason. Like maybe if I'm gonna do like a happy fun one of like just like an extra little love, right? But I would never do like a hex again because it
Yeah.
was, yeah, like I had the stalker, and my aunt was like, it got to a point he was in my class and my professor wasn't doing anything about it. This is before I was like had a platform or anything too. I just had a fucking stalker for no reason.
Oh my God.
And and I went to my aunt at one point. She was visiting that week. And I was like, dude, like I was crying. I was like, this guy won't leave me alone. And she was like, let's hex him. I'm like, thinking in my head, like, I believe this woman, but again, like I'm always questioning everything. I'm like, there's no way. So we
Mm-hmm.
do it. Tell me why I haven't seen that man since. He had to drop out of college, was in a car accident, broke both of his arms, and in a wheelchair.
What?
And I told my aunt, I was like, what did you do? She was like, he must have wanted to kill you. And then my other uncle, like the other spiritual guy, he was like, you better be careful because like threefold, what you put out, like return to sender. I was like, fuck. So I haven't done it since because I got scared. I was like, oh my God.
I
Yeah,
would
everyone in my
too.
class was like, where'd Greg go? I was like, Greg gone. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Sorry,
that's
Greg, if you're listening to this.
wild.
He
Holy
could still
shit.
stalk me, who knows? But I haven't seen him since. And like he was, oh, it was bad. It was bad. And so yeah, like keep in mind too, like the girlies, the witchy girlies with spells, like karma is a very real thing. Karma is everyone's friend, and you can trust it because it's gonna come back. One of my exes
Mm.
that cheated on me, a tornado went through his house. Did I do a spell? No.
Holy shit.
Yeah, did I do a spell? No, that might have been my ancestors. But like karma is very real. Like
Yeah.
we can trust it. And again, like when people come to me too, they're like, "Can you hex my ex?" I'm like, "See, I could, but I'm not going to because I want nothing to do with their energy.
Yeah.
Like I miss me with that shit."
That's
If
so
anything, we can
real.
say like, "I wish them the best. I wish you the best.
Kill
Peace,
him
love,
with
and war."
kindness.
Yeah, I know, which is like the hardest thing ever. But like, I'm like, it's not like a personal me ego thing. It's just like I have to do it, and like sending you peace, love, and wubs. And if I ever find out you do it to someone else, then we'll talk.
Mm-hmm. Amen. I
Yep.
think it's
Yep.
so interesting because I find a lot of parallels in like some of the ways that we grew up. Like I also was a dancer. I also didn't like being the center of attention. And there's like a lot of
Yeah.
similarities. And also when I was younger, I had a lot of really dark interactions with magic through my stepmom. But then I would go back to stay with my mom and she would be like, she's crazy. All of that's bad. Da da da. You're crazy. And so I would just shut it all off. And so every summer I would go back with my stepmom and my dad and like kind of this
Wow.
like zigzag
Yeah,
back and
same.
forth. And so it was interesting. Eventually, I completely shut off all of that until I was like 20 or something. And
Yep.
then I was like, oh, okay, there is like a safer, more grounded way to approach these things. And a lot of those things that I felt were very real and didn't necessarily need to be exposed to those that early, like that sort of thing. But I'm so grateful for all of it. And that's one of my favorite phrases is grateful for it all. Because
Yeah.
genuinely, if I hadn't have been exposed that early and in some ways traumatized,
Yes.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't
Exactly.
know what it feels like to feel so good, right? That duality is part of the beautiful experience of being human. Like we have to, there's nothing if there's not duality and contrast. And
Hmm.
so I'm very grateful to be in a space now where I can recognize that and I can work with it and
Yeah.
have conversations like this where we can be like, yeah, that was pretty fucked up what we witnessed. And look where we are now.
Yeah, like it was messed up. I'm thankful for it in a weird, twisted way. Would I have done it differently? Maybe. But I am
Mm-hmm.
thankful for it and I'm thankful for the lessons and I'm thankful that it's like also in the past and then I can teach people about it too. Like, um, and listen, if I got to be the one to do it, then sure. That's like what you said about Spotlight too. I'm like, one of the worst thing, like, I'm so thankful that I do what I do and I get to help people. At the same time, I say it's like one of the curses of like being perceived, especially because like people these days like expect perfection. And I'm like, girl, I don't even like think that like how is anyone else supposed to be perfect? And so I always say like it's one of the things of being perceived sucks, but someone's got to do it. I'm like, listen, I I volunteer as tribute if I know these things that I feel like could help people, then like I'll do it. I'll do it. And I just gotta like almost learn to like when to shut it off, if that makes sense, of like my humanness. And then like when I'm on the road, when I go to a show, something that sucks about it is like I can't necessarily go in a crowd anymore. But at the same time, I'm grateful for that because I have so many people that like love me, and I wish I could like talk to everyone. But like sometimes like I just need to enjoy the show. But the thing is with it, like I'm so thankful that I can be the one to. I'm like I built the armor that I can take
Mm-hmm.
on this person and this job where I am perceived and I know that I am like genuinely trying to be the best person I can be as I have an audience too and as I'm like ironically I guess it's like some sort of influence now to people and like I'm just thankful that I guess it like had to happen to me I guess because it's just like when I see it and there's other people or things I'm like it's hard and I'm just thankful I've built the armor and I can like shut it off in ways and um also like that the community that I am like perceived for is just such a loving, amazing community that's just so supportive that I'm just so blessed. I like literally have to pinch myself every day that like I'm actually living in this timeline where like I'm doing like my dream job. Because like growing up, like I knew it was possible, but you like I'm still like, well, I'm like around all these people that it's like almost stuck and they feel like stuck
Mm-hmm.
that I was the only one to like force the shell to break and so just getting to inspire other people like that too because like I didn't come from money. I didn't come from necessarily like the healthy parent relationship like but I've decided to like take charge and like write my own story and like break those cycles and anyone can do it and if I can do it with 2 pennies in my pocket so can you guys because there's a will there's a way and then I manifested I was like $10,000 and then I won $10,000 with Excision a couple of years ago so
Hell
there's a
yeah.
will there's a way and you can manifest money too but usually I just manifest the abundance and the money comes and then I have a
Yeah.
spell now that anytime I spend money at first it was anytime I spend money when I don't want to but now it's just anytime I'm like energetically spending money comes back times 3 million. Just like energetically, like it's all comes
Mm-hmm.
back. It was times three, now it's 3 million. Maybe it'll be 3 billion, but we don't want that much money anyways. If I did, I wouldn't last because I'd be like, and you get $100,000 and you get like I want to be
For
able to go
real.
to a grocery store. Like one of my weird manifestations is in the future, go with Shaq. specifically Shack, to a grocery store and pay for everyone's food in there. That's like one of my weird DJ goals. But I'm like, it can happen, but
Wait,
um,
that's like, that feels so easy. It's going to happen soon.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm like, yeah, I need a little more than two pennies. I need to play some more shows. My problem is too, like with the balance, like I'm not that type of artist that like you can't send me out every single weekend and like I need
Mm-hmm.
time off. So I just like before I started tour, I was off for 4 months because I just need to like human and like I'm not trying
Mm-hmm.
to like push myself to where I'm like depleted. It's not healthy to tour every single week. I feel like a
No.
lot of these agents are pushing these young acts to be every in all these countries every single week. And it's like, guys, we're just getting started. We're humans. I'm trying to like have a long career here and I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
like take my time. So, moral of the story is the Shack grocery store will happen soon, but I need to play some more shows.
Yeah. I think that that's such an important point that even if, you're not a producer, a DJ, it's important to remember, again, coming back to like, we are still in a physical vessel and we have to take care of that first and foremost. Um, a friend of ours, John Casey, he has been in South
Yeah.
Africa for months now.
Yeah.
And we were texting the other day. I'm like, oh, are you like back in the States yet? He's like, no, I'm still at home. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Because he also, right before he went back for the holidays, he was playing so many fucking shows in a row. And he's very much like you, where whenever we talk, he's like, yeah, he introduced me to this app called Ben because he stretches every single day for at least 10 minutes a day. He meditates every single day for at least 10 minutes a day and he tracks it all. And he's like, I wouldn't be able to uphold what I'm doing without these things. And it's a perfect
Love.
example of just taking care of yourself first and
Yeah.
foremost. And that's something that I'm very grateful that all of the DJs that I'm friends with have that mentality. And I'm also
Yeah.
not surprised because it makes
Yeah.
sense
Yeah.
that I'm, around people like that. But then I witnessed some other DJs that it's just like they are going fucking hard all the time. And
Yeah.
it
You can
breaks my
literally see
fucking
it in their
heart.
aura. You can literally
Yeah.
see it. It's like very obvious.
It
Yeah.
breaks my
So we
heart. And
send them prayers.
yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for being such like a beaming beacon for people to show them that duality is so important, not just when it comes to like our experiences on a day-to-day basis, but also the duality of like being a spiritual being and taking care of your human vessel and putting out so much good into the world through your music, through the things that you talk about, and doing your own work internally. And that's how you keep going. And it is so clear in the energy and in your aura. And I just think
Thanks.
that it's so beautiful. And I'm so grateful to have been able to share this with everyone.
Same, me too. I'm like, have me back. I'm like, we're just getting started.
Oh my God, there's so many other things that are still in my mind. I'm like, I want to talk more about aliens. I want to talk more about this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to plan. I'm like, sadly, guys, if someone's listening, I'm like, I have a team meeting in a couple minutes, but we're gonna have to dive in more because so much more. And you're also gonna have to let me know. We're gonna have to stay in touch and let me know about like next time you're gonna be when I'm in your area. Like, you gotta come hang. I don't know if I'm doing base caning this year yet. I can't remember, but I'll be over there soon.
Well, we'll
And
be
we definitely
here.
need to connect. Yeah, yeah,
You
I would
can
love
meet
to.
your new niece for the
My
first
new,
time.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Zingara, for coming on. This has been an amazing conversation. And I have a feeling that we'll be hearing more from you on this podcast soon.
We better. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. And to everyone listening, start studying now, baby. Catch up or get left. Just kidding. We love you. Thank you for listening too.
Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep shining, keep aligning. We'll talk soon.
Aw.